The end of the world. Materials consumed by women will be returned 10,000-fold. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 26 Bidding for Black Lychees. Late at night, 2 o'clock, Chen Yun still couldn't sleep. She shivered on the bed, covered her head and looked at the quiet room. Zhou Xianhao is dead, and Song Ji is also dead. Originally, the three of them lived together, so she didn't feel too scared now she was alone, and the bedroom was emitting a strange red light under the light. The living room was even darker. Chen Yun was restless, always feeling like a monster would jump out of the darkness. At the same time, the bloody scene of Jiang Fan squeezing Zhou Xianhao to death with one hand in the afternoon played out repeatedly in her mind. FK. The men are dead, what will I do? Chen Yun finally saw the most terrifying aspect of the apocalypse. She deeply regretted that she should not have encouraged Zhou Xianhao to deal with Jiang Fan. That kid Jiang Fan is so shady. He is so strong, but he has never shown it in the group. Chen Yun began to wonder whether the food in Jiang Fan's hand had been stored in advance. Could it be that he robbed someone else? Chen Yun's scalp was numb. Jiang Fan had so much food. How many stores did he rob? Will he come to take revenge on me? At this moment, the door lock made a slight clanging sound. Chen Yun was frightened. Who came to open my door in the middle of the night? Could it be Jiang Fan? Chen Yun almost cried. Jiang Fan is here to kill me. Grass, I will fight with you. Chen Yunbao's strong character came into play. She gritted her teeth and picked up the baseball bat beside the bed. She turned off the lights and walked to the door in the dark, trembling all over as she waited. The door made an inaudible friction sound and opened gently. The beam of flashlight shone and a man and a woman stood outside the door. Chen Yun faced the light and couldn't see clearly who it was. Holding her breath behind the door, the woman suddenly spoke. I didn't turn on the light, so I must have fallen asleep. Let's keep it down and kill that BCH. Zhou Xianhao must have looted a lot of food, the man said nervously. Xiao Jiang, there's no need to kill people. Let's just steal some food and leave. The two people are Liu Daqiang and Jiang Yan. Jiang Yan pinched her throat and said, what are you afraid of? Who would know that it was you who did it? Zhou Xianhao and the other fitness instructor are dead, and there is only one BCH left. Kill her and let's search. I don't believe that Zhou Xianhao didn't go robbing after he got the superpower. You damn girl know that I kill people. Liu Daqiang was very resistant. It's better not to kill anyone. He just covets Jiang Yan's beauty, but he is not stupid. If he kills someone and Jiang Yan takes advantage of him, won't he be taken advantage of even more in the future? This day's interaction made him feel that Jiang Yan was not an easy woman to get along with. Moreover, Jiang Yan was so good at playing in bed, which made him deeply doubt, this girl is so experienced, is she really a good woman? Liu Daqiang scratched his crotch while thinking, I don't know why, but I feel very itchy down there today. When Chen Yun heard what the two said, she was shocked and angry. Smelly BCH, he will kill me at every turn. I stole your man. Huh? Yes, these two people don't look familiar. The lock-picking ability is very useful in the apocalypse. Why can't you grab this man? As a rune mage, she has great experience in tearing apart and robbing men. The key is how to gain the trust of this locksmith as soon as possible. The two walked into the room with their backs to Chen Yun. Jiang Yan rolled her eyes and said again, do you want to know how Zhou Xianhao obtained his superpowers? How about we arrest that woman and interrogate her? Boom. A stick hit her hard on the head. Jiang Yan fell to the ground like a log. Liu Daqiang was startled and quickly took a step back. He raised the kitchen knife in his hand and shined the flashlight. Who? He saw a woman, the one beside Zhou Xianhao. Liu Daqiang looked at Chen Yun in surprise, and then he realized that he had been tricked by the other party. Chen Yun took the initiative to throw the baseball bat on the ground and said, Master, brother, it's me, I'm Chen Yun. Don't kill me, I want to cooperate with you. Liu Daqiang was stunned for a moment. The woman threw away the weapon, and the tension in her heart eased a lot. She kicked the baseball bat aside with her feet, and then observed Jiang Yan's injuries. Jiang Yan is finished. Blood flowed all over the floor, and he couldn't breathe. Liu Daqiang was shocked and angry, waving his kitchen knife and saying, you killed my woman and you still cooperated with me. Chen Yun gritted her teeth and decisively opened her collar, revealing a large expanse of white. Brother, I am also a woman, and I will follow you. What? The FK? Liu Dongqiang felt dizzy. Chen Yun is also a female coach in the gym. She is tall and has a flat belly with no trace of fat 3 inches below her navel. There is a purple succubus rune tattooed on her, which is full of temptation under the contrast of her snow-white skin. Liu Dongqiang swallowed hard. Is this the end of the world? This girl is in heaven. How could such a woman like him before? Now women pounce on him one after another. Liu Dongqiang plucked up the courage and asked, how do you want to cooperate? Seeing Liu Dongqiang's softened attitude, Chen Yun took the initiative to step forward, hugged the man's arm between his chest, and said in a tired voice, what's your surname, brother? Liu Dongqiang squinted his eyes to enjoy the softness and smiled, my surname is Liu. Liu Dongqiang, what? A name. Chen Yun rubbed Liu Dongqiang's arm against his body and whispered, I know how Zhou Xianhao obtained his abilities. Liu Dongqiang's eyes suddenly lit up. Real. Liu Dongqiang felt itchy in his crotch and scratched his crotch again. Chen Yun thought Liu Dongqiang was impatient and disdainful in his heart, but on the surface he nodded vigorously. Do you know why he targeted Jiang Fan today? Liu Dongqiang was stunned for a moment. Who is Jiang Fan? Chen Yun whispered, that's the man who killed Zhou Xianhao today. His name in the group is Bao Fang Bao Lodging. His name is Jiang Fan, and he has a girlfriend named Song Shian who often goes to my gym to exercise. Liu Dongqiang nodded. Well, let's continue. Why is Zhou Xianhao targeting Jiang Fan? Chen Yun said, for the superpower. I saw with my own eyes that Zhou Xianhao gained superpower after eating a black lychee. Jiang Fan was in the group asking for a black lychee, and Zhou Xianhao saw it and thought Jiang Fan still had one in his hand. Black lychee. Liu Dongqiang thought of the photo Jiang Fan posted in the group. I see, many people with superpowers have posted videos online, but so far they have not disclosed how they obtain their superpowers. Liu Dongqiang, like many people, instinctively believes that people with superpowers are just lucky enough to awaken. Inexplicably it turned out to be black lychee. I also want superpowers. Liu Dongqiang's heart was burning and he said in a deep voice, Jiang Fan still has a black lychee in his hand. Yeah, but he probably has already eaten it. Chen Yun analyzed. Zhou Xianhao's strength is about twice as strong as before. Jiang Fan squeezed Zhou Xianhao to death with one hand, and his strength was obviously far greater than Zhou Xianhao. He must have gained the ability after eating that black lychee. In addition, if Jiang Fan didn't know, the effect of black lychee will not be purchased in the group, Liu Dongqiang said regretfully. Alice. Then what's the use of talking about this now, stupid? Chen Yun was disdainful in her heart, but on the surface she said enthusiastically, Brother Liu, think about it. Black lychees are so weird. Who would dare to eat them? What if someone has them but doesn't dare to eat them? Isn't it just because of this possibility that he can buy them in the group? If you want to buy, of course we can also buy this. Liu Dongqiang felt something was wrong. With something as important as the superpower fruit, how could Jiang Fan allow himself to compete with him? But his desire for supernatural powers made him ignore the danger. But how can we have as much food as Jiang Fan? We can't even compete in the bidding. Chen Yun whispered, we deliberately offered a higher price than Jiang Fan. As long as someone contacts us, what else should we buy? It would be easier to just go to his house and steal. Liu Dongqiang's eyes shone. Good idea. The two chatted for a while, then threw Jiang Yan's body downstairs, and then posted a message in the group saying 10 packs of instant noodles, looking to buy black lychees. After finishing their business, the two nibbled together and quickly rolled onto the bed. Chapter 27. Female anchor with diarrhea. The night passed. The woman fell asleep. Jiang Fan was still in high spirits and did not feel tired at all as his overall physical fitness increased. His sleep also became less. He took a nap for 30 minutes and then got up energetically. At daybreak, Jiang Fan took out 5 boxes of milk and a dozen braised eggs and started eating them. This is also the impact of increased overall physical fitness. The food intake has increased a lot. If it had been any other survivor, they might have starved. Jiang Fan didn't care. He won't be short of food at all after eating and drinking. Jiang Fan took out his mobile phone. It took a long time to connect to the internet, but the signal got worse and worse. He received private messages from more than a dozen women. Handsome guy, can we chat? Brother, food and accommodation are included. Do you think I can do that? I have fair skin, good looks, and long legs. As long as you give me instant noodles every day, I can do whatever I want. I guarantee your satisfaction. Food is becoming increasingly scarce. and many people have exceeded the bottom line. Jiang Fan scanned them and found that the scores were all very low. None of them met the requirements of the system, so he blocked all these women. After the death incident yesterday, the Wealth Center group became a lot quieter, with few people talking all night. Only Mrs. Su scolded Li Qingquan in the group, saying that he had killed her grandson. I sent hundreds of messages. Li Qingquan only retorted at the beginning, and then stopped talking. Jiang Fan also saw Chen Yun looking to buy black lychees in the group. Chen Yun? Isn't she the rune mage next to Zhou Xianhao? By the way, she must have speculated after seeing Zhou Xianhao gain abilities after eating black lychees. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. He had known for a long time that the black lychee matter could not be hidden for long because he also saw the news from the internet. It has probably spread in many places, but now that someone is competing with him, it still makes him very unhappy. He used his perception to look at room 1708. A man and a woman are sleeping together. The woman's silhouette looks like that of the rune mage next to Zhou Xianhao, with a very good figure. The man's silhouette looks familiar. It seems to be the locksmith. Why did these two people get together again? Jiang Fan thought about it for a while but didn't care. Just bid, wouldn't it be easier for me to snatch it out of Chen Yun's hands after she buys it? Jiang Fan made up his mind and didn't bother to talk to the two of them, leaving them behind. At this moment, a message automatically popped up on Jiang Fan's phone. Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. Can you please give me diarrhea medicine? I want to buy some medicine. Diarrhea? Jiang Fan looked at Hu Lili on the 21st floor. I saw her lying on the bed, curled up in a ball, and the light on her body was very dim. Suddenly, she got up and rushed to the bathroom, food and shelter included. Are you having diarrhea? Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. Yeah, Jiang Fan frowned. Can diarrhea be cured now? He doesn't know either. Diarrhea used to be just a minor illness, but it's different now. The virus is also mutating rapidly. Who knows whether the previous drugs are still effective? Also, how did she get diarrhea? If he was infected with some horrible virus, then Jiang Fan would definitely turn around and leave without even looking at Hu Lili, so as not to infect himself. Food and accommodation included. What's going on? Block C number 2104. I am really not a fox. I saved half of the instant noodles I ate yesterday and froze them in the refrigerator. I thought it was fine, so I ate them, and then, Jiang Fan was speechless. Food and accommodation included. You are really smart. Jiang Fan also breathed a sigh of relief. As long as it's not some kind of virulent virus, maybe there's still some hope. Block C number 2104. I am really not a fox. Brother, please, you must have medicine, right? Hu Lili held her stomach, stood up from the toilet with difficulty, moved to the room, and fell weakly on the bed. Continuous diarrhea made her almost dehydrated. Being sick at this time made her very desperate. Food and accommodation are included. I have norfloxacin and montmorillonite powder for children. Hu Lili was pleasantly surprised. Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. I buy it. I buy it. I also have a diamond necklace. Jiang Fan sneered. What's a stone worth? Just wait for me and I'll be there soon. Jiang Fan found the medicine from his pocket and his body sank to the floor. Soon, he jumped into Hu Lili's room and landed directly by her window. Hu Lili was frightened when she saw Jiang Fan walking across the floor strangely. You. Jiang Fan was too lazy to talk nonsense to her and took out 2 boxes of medicine. Hu Lili ignored her fear and said in surprise, "Thank you, brother." Jiang Fan said calmly, "Don't be pretentious. How much is a verbal thank you worth? If you want medicine, yes, what can you give?" Hu Lili was angry. You are taking advantage of others' danger. Taking advantage of others' danger? Jiang Fan smiled. When you are in the supermarket, a bottle of water is worth only $1. When you are trapped in the desert, a bottle of water is worth thousands of gold. Different things naturally have different prices at different times and in different places. I'm the most reasonable person. A deal is a deal. I won't force you if you don't agree, but don't expect me to save you. Hu Lili held her stomach and said weakly and angrily, "Can human lives be traded?" Jiang Fan looked at her coldly. "Don't kidnap me with human life and morality. I don't do that. Besides, pharmaceutical companies have never reduced prices for patients who can't afford medicines before. Why don't you scold them? Don't waste time. Give me an answer." Hu Lili was desperate. Jiang Fan was not anxious at all and looked at Hu Lili calmly. Hu Lili's stomach felt cramping again, and she said painfully, "Okay. I agree. Give me the medicine quickly." She held out her hand. Very urgently Jiang Fan sneered. Did you make a mistake? Now you are begging me to save you. Are you begging for help? Who? Lily's eyes were red. Why are you like this? Do you still have any sympathy, Jiang Fan sneered. Sympathy? In the last days, the more compassion you have, the faster you will die. Don't you dare to play this trick on me. In the past, have you ever sympathized with a beggar on the roadside? No. Then what qualifications do you have to criticize others? Everyone is just the same. In my opinion, you are no better than the beggar on the roadside. Almost like a beggar, Jiang Fan leaned down, looked directly into Hu Lily's eyes, and said word by word, if I give you medicine, you can live. If I don't give you medicine, you will die. What qualifications do you think you have to negotiate with me, Hu? Lily collapsed. Please, give me the medicine. Ha ha ha. Jiang Fan laughed. That's right, that's how you behave. He threw 2 boxes of medicine to Hu Lily. Hu Lily quickly tore open the package and swallowed it. At this time, she couldn't help but feel abdominal pain and stumbled into the bathroom. After a few minutes, he walked out weakly, holding on to the wall. He looked like he had severe diarrhea. Jiang Fan didn't know if she could survive. The rest depended on her own luck. Jiang Fan left behind several boxes of Snickers, Coke and other high-energy foods, as well as several boxes of pure water before leaving. Hu Lily watched Jiang Fan jump onto the floor and leave, feeling envious and with mixed feelings in her heart. The day passed peacefully. Jiang Fan didn't go out either, so he quickly downloaded the offline map and some important information. The internet will be gone soon, and this information will be very valuable. He fed the husky 2 more times. Jiang Fan became more and more confident in subduing Baiyan, so he simply brought it into his room, but he only let it live in his own rental house and was not allowed to enter Tang Zirao's room at 7 o'clock in the evening. Jiang Fan noticed that the light on Hu Lily's body had recovered a lot, and she was almost like a normal person. It seems that the diarrhea has been basically cured and the medicine is still useful. Jiang Fan came to Hu Lily's house. Hu Lily was eating a Snickers bar when she was startled by a man who suddenly jumped out of the floor. Jiang Fan looked at her face and saw that her diarrhea was better. She had replenished enough energy and water, and she felt much more energetic. Jiang Fan didn't say anything, just looked at her lightly. Hu Lily didn't dare to play tricks and could only say, wait for me to clean up. The scene of Jiang Fan squeezing Zhou Xianhao to death shocked everyone. Jiang Fan said casually, no, just take all your things with you. After saying that, he walked around the room. Wherever he went, things quickly disappeared. Hu Lily was dumbfounded. This is magic. Jiang Fan glanced at her. This is my ability, space. So, as long as you follow me, you don't have to worry about eating and drinking in the future. I have already collected enough food. Hu Lily was pleasantly surprised, and the resistance in her heart was reduced a lot with Hu Lily. We could only take the stairs. The two returned to Tang Zirao's house. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 National Action begins. When Tang Zirao opened the door, she saw Hu Lily and felt aggrieved. Hu Lily's figure was hot and her size far exceeded that of ordinary people, which made Tang Zirao very wary. However, she did not show it on her face. Instead, she said softly, Brother Jiang, you are back. What is the name of this beauty, Hu? Lily's face turned slightly red. Jiang Fan said casually, Hu Lily. Tang Zirao knew that she couldn't stop her, so she could only pretend to be a big lady, took the initiative to hold Hu Lily's arm and said with a smile, hello, we will be sisters from now on, Hu. Lily was at a loss, shy and surprised. She never expected that Tang Zirao, the most famous second-generation official beauty in the community, would be so resigned. Jiang Fan was very satisfied with Tang Zirao's performance and smiled lightly. Tang Zirao introduced, Hu Lily, this is Su Menqian. She is also our sister, Su. Menqian didn't have a good look on her face. She looked Hu Lily up and down. She couldn't suppress the jealousy in her heart. She wanted to take the opportunity to test Jiang Fan's bottom line, so she pouted and said, huh? Men are all big pigs, snapped. Before she finished speaking, Jiang Fan slapped her in the face. The slap was so hard that Su Menqian's head buzzed and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Are you trying to trick me? Jiang Fan sneered. Why, have you been embarrassed in the past 2 days? How dare you talk to me like this, Su Menqian immediately realized that Jiang Fan was not a man like Hule and had no control at all. It's over. Her heart sank, and she quickly used the gentle offensive. The eye circles quickly turned red, tears dripped down, the skin was white as snow, and the tip of the nose was red. I cried so hard that I felt pity for him, Brother Jiang. When she saw Tang Zurao gloating over her misfortune, she was furious. Su Menqian cried while thinking quickly about how to deal with the predicament at hand. Jiang Fan clearly saw that the light on Su Menqian's body changed from green back to yellow. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed sharply. You eat my food and drink my food, but your attitude toward me is still neutral? Get out of here, Su. Menqian was shocked. Jiang Fan couldn't help but pick up Su Menqian, opened the door and threw her a few meters out. Boom. The door is closed directly. Su Menqian fell so hard that she almost lost her breath, but she could no longer care about the pain and became panicked. It turned out that Jiang Fan was not trying to scare her. Only then did she remember that Jiang Fan had a sense and could see a woman's attitude towards him just now. My mentality changed slightly, and the other party discovered it. Su Menqian rolled on the ground and threw herself on the door, BG on it and crying miserably. No. Brother Jiang. Don't abandon me. Don't abandon me. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I never dare to do it again. Tang Zurao was horrified to see it in the apocalypse. She is lucky to be able to hold the lap of a man like Jiang Fan. Don't think too much. Jiang Fan opened the smart peephole and looked through the doorway. Don't knock on the door. Kneel outside and reflect. When will I see you turn green? When will you be able to come in? Otherwise, just ask for happiness. Who? Lily saw such a scene as soon as she entered the door and was a little overwhelmed. Besides, she couldn't understand what Jiang Fan was saying. What green? What neutrality? What are these talking about? The BG on the door soon stopped. Su Menqian did not dare to knock on the door. She suppressed her fear and knelt down outside the door, sobbing softly. The most troublesome thing now is how to change his attitude towards Jiang Fan into a friendly one. Su Menqian could only cry and brainwash herself. Brother Jiang is my man. I must listen to him. Brother Jiang is my man. I must listen to him. Jiang Fan turned off the smart cat eye screen, looked at the two women in the room with sharp eyes, and sneered. Do you think I'm cruel? Who? Lily felt her heart beating wildly. No, no. Tang Zurao quickly lowered her head. Of course not. Brother Jiang, don't worry, I won't be as stupid as her. Jiang Fan chuckled. Remember, don't be smart, and don't use this little trick to test me. If you hit him with a stick, you will be given another red date. Jiang Fan took out a perception fruit and handed it to Hu Lily. It's for you. Eat it. Hu Lily said in surprise. Is this the black lychee I gave you? Can you eat it? Jiang Fan smiled. This thing is called a superpower fruit. If you eat it, you can get superpowers. Jiang Fan briefly explained the role of perception. He planned to give every woman the ability to perceive, which can avoid many dangers. However, Jiang Fan will not give out powerful fruits, such as virtualization and physical enhancement, at will. It depends on the performance of the woman. Hu Lily finally understood what Jiang Fan was saying just now, but she was shocked. Is this the source of superpowers? Why are you giving such an important thing to me? In addition, he bought one from me and gave me another as a gift. He made no profit at all and gave me several bags of instant noodles for free. Is it just to save me? Could it be that this man is actually cold-hearted and kind-hearted? Hu Lily couldn't help but think about it inexplicably. She also felt that Su Menqian was a little too much in an era like the end of the world. If a man is willing to take in a woman, protect you, feed you, clothe you, and give you superpowers, what more do you want? When a man saves you, he can't do nothing for you. Hu Lily ate the fruit of perception in her thoughts. Ling. Hu Lily consumes one enlightenment fruit perception and returns 400 fruits. It has been put into the portable space. Su Menqian knelt outside the door for 20 hours. Jiang Fan saw the light on her body turn green, but still ignored her. Su Menqian was hungry, thirsty and scared, and finally fainted. Only then did Jiang Fan ask the two women to drag Su Menqian into the room. After Su Menqian woke up, she looked at Jiang Fan with a timid and aggrieved look. Jiang Fan ignored her and looked at his phone casually. Several more women in the group contacted me and asked to sell themselves, but none of them met the system's scoring requirements. Beauties of this level like Tang Zurao, Hu Lily, and Su Menqian are at least 1 in 1,000. It is pure luck that 3 wealth centers can appear. Boom. Suddenly there was the sound of a helicopter in the sky. Several people looked outside. I saw an armed helicopter passing by from low altitude. A loud announcement came from the plane. Dear citizens, according to the plan, the herbicide will be sprayed in half an hour. All citizens are asked to stay indoors and do not go out within 4 hours after sowing this. Herbicide is the latest research result of Long Academy. After repeated tests, it can effectively kill a large number of plants. The country has the ability to protect the safety of every citizen. Please persist in saving yourself and don't give up hope. The earth belongs to mankind, and we will eventually become the masters of the earth again. Chapter 29 The Giant Redbird. Perception 5 stars. Countless people emerged from the surrounding residential buildings. They roared excitedly to the sky to vent their despair. During this period the country finally takes action, Tang Zhao said in surprise. The country finally takes action. Su Mengqian and Hu Lili also became happy when they heard the national action. They seemed to see hope of returning to the past. You can go shopping, you can chat, you can dress up beautifully. Herbicide? Jiang Fan frowned slightly. If it is said that the end of evolution can be ended so easily, he does not believe it because of the Enlightenment fruit and supernatural powers. He felt that this apocalypse was not as simple as natural evolution. Moreover, even if the plants are killed, will the apocalypse be over? What to do about the red mist? As long as humans only have a 5-meter field of vision in the red mist, traffic will never be restored. In short, Jiang Fan does not have high hopes for the country's response. However, since the country has taken action, it means that high-level organizations still exist and there is hope for the restoration of order. Jiang Fan didn't want to live naked in the primeval forest and be a savage. As for him killing Zhou Xianhao in public, Jiang Fan was not too worried. How many humans have died these days? At least 1/3, with so many survivors. How many have blood on their hands? At least hundreds of millions. How can the state control so many people? Kill them all? That's crazy. Aren't you afraid that these people will rebel directly? It is said that the law does not punish everyone, and this is true. Moreover, even if the country can re-establish order, powerful superpowers, as strong men in the new era, will inevitably be able to enter the upper class and become members of the ruling class. Therefore, Jiang Fan is not anxious at all. No matter what the outcome is, he will be the beneficiary. Jiang Fan looked out the window quietly, feeling as calm as sitting and watching the clouds. Su Mengqian, go cook? I won't go out today. Su Mengqian said honestly. Okay, Brother Jiang. The group, which had been silent for a while, became lively again. The country finally takes action. I guess they'll be sending us food soon, right? That's for sure. The country will not sit back and watch us die. HMPH. Some people wouldn't trade their gold necklaces for instant noodles. Now they're regretting it. Ha ha ha. That's right. That's right. It's so greedy that a snake swallows an elephant. You actually want to trade instant noodles for a woman? What a wishful thinking. Some stupid women believe it, and they will regret it later. Director Tang will not let some people go. Jiang Fan looked at the group messages and raised his lips slightly. I hope you can still laugh. After a while, half an hour later, a dozen transport planes flew over at low altitude. Pieces of white water mist spread out from the tail of the plane, and the water mist exuded a pungent smell. If it were the past, citizens would definitely dislike it and even call the authorities to complain. But now, all the survivors in the Fortune Center let out deafening cheers. Long live the Dragon Kingdom, and the apocalypse. Kill these damn plants. The hope of the end of the apocalypse seems to be just around the corner. Jiang Fan looked at the plane quietly. More than a dozen transport planes were dispatched at one time. This is just one city in the Demon Sea. It seems that the government really retains a strong power. At this time, a group of giant redbirds swooped down from the clouds in an instant. Their speed is extremely fast, like streaks of red lightning piercing the sky. Almost in the blink of an eye, it flew from a small red dot to the sky above the transport aircraft group. Looking at the body shape, there is not much difference between the two. The giant bird's claws grabbed the top of the transport plane. The steel shell of the plane was like a paper shell and was penetrated without any resistance. It flapped its wings violently and dragged the transport plane of dozens of tons towards the clouds. The heavy transport planes were completely helpless in front of the giant birds, and they towed away the transport planes one by one. There is a giant red bird that seems to be the leader of the flock. It is especially huge and its wings are red and shiny, like a lit torch. The giant flaming bird let out a scream. Wow, wow. A lot of glass was shattered upon hearing the leader's order. The birds flew upward and disappeared into the clouds. The cheers around them stopped, and the survivors stared blankly at the sky like ducks strangled by their necks. A bird can actually tow away dozens of tons of airplanes. Is this also something carbon-based organisms can do? How strong must the bones, skin, and muscles of such a powerful creature be? Can a missile kill it? Jiang Fan also felt his scalp numb after his overall physical fitness increased. His eyesight also improved a lot just now. He faintly saw that when the giant leader bird screamed, there were traces of air distortion around its body. This is not an ordinary cry, but some kind of ability. These giant red birds are far scarier than the mutated frogs downstairs. This is just one city in the Demon Sea, and there are so many terrifying creatures. The Demon Sea is still a place where humans are densely populated and animals are sparse. There are still many places on Earth that are sparsely populated, from Shenangjia to Amazon to the boundless ocean. How many creatures have evolved to levels unimaginable by humans? Can humans really become the masters of the Earth again? Jiang Fan had no confidence at all. No matter how the situation changes, it is always right to become stronger. Jiang Fan took out a bunch of enlightenment fruits and ate them. After eating an unknown number of pills, Jiang Fan finally heard a sweet prompt. Ling. Perception has been upgraded to 5 stars. You can now perceive inanimate objects. The perception range has been increased to 100 meters. Jiang Fan was secretly happy, finally upgraded. This time, the entire building was completely under his surveillance, and no movement could escape Jiang Fan's side. In addition, Jiang Fan's perception spanned the distance between the 2 buildings. He can also monitor part of the floors of Tower A and Tower B at the same time. Another key change is that you can see inanimate objects, and the information you perceive is greatly enriched. In the past, he could only see living objects such as animals, plants, and humans. Now he can see the room's furniture, building stones, floors, etc. except for the dull color. There is almost no visual difference, and it's 360 degrees. The next day Jiang Fan got up and looked out the window. The red mist continued to rise, and now it had reached the 21st floor. Immediately afterwards, Jiang Fan noticed changes. Many plants are dead. Those towering pine trees lost their needles overnight and turned into bare trunks. The light inside the pine tree is very dim, like a candle that may be extinguished at any time, while the ivy on the exterior wall withered, revealing the mottled walls. Does it really work? Jiang Fan was surprised. Void. He walked through the floors and soon came to an empty room on the first floor. Jiang Fan carefully observed his surroundings. This time, he finally discovered the location of the mutant frog. It was lying at the bottom of the swimming pool in the community, seemingly sleeping. This location is more than 80 meters away from the gate of Building C. If it weren't for the upgrade in perception, Jiang Fan wouldn't be able to find the mutated frog at all. Jiang Fan also saw that the plants outside the window suffered heavy casualties. Whether weeds, vines or woody plants, they all fell down piece by piece. After so long, he finally saw what the ground looked like again. Plants died, and many animals were poisoned by herbicides. The ground was densely covered with the corpses of rats, cockroaches and various insects. However, because the transport fleet was attacked by a giant red bird, the herbicide was not spread evenly. There are still a lot of plants left in many places. There are also plants in some places that escaped the disaster because they were not exposed to the outdoors. For example, in the lobby on the first floor, the plants are only slightly wilted and show no signs of death. Jiang Fan also noticed that the light in these plants that had escaped the disaster did not dim at all, but became brighter. They seem to be adapting to herbicides quickly. It's right to think about it. At the end of evolution, everything evolves at the speed of light. How can a small herbicide kill all the plants? As long as they can't be killed, they can adapt and evolve again. Jiang Fan sighed secretly. The situation before us is probably just a reflection of human civilization. At this time, the brave survivor began to try to walk out of the room. Damn it. This herbicide is awesome. The Dragon Academy is still the Dragon Academy. Don't delay. Go to the supermarket quickly to find some food. Chapter 30. The herbicide takes effect. Fitness Beauty Liuman Gaio. More and more survivors walked out of the building and walked nervously outside. Many people even walked through the swimming pool, unaware of the terrifying monster so close at hand. Jiang Fan looked at everyone silently. It's strange, the mutated frogs don't attack them. Jiang Fan couldn't figure it out, but now that the survivors were starting to go out to search for supplies, he couldn't lag behind. Go upstairs to Yida and see if there's anything else you can get. When these survivors go out, they will definitely make a mess of Yida's things next time we go out. There may not be so many good things. Jiang Fan's heart moved and he sank into the ground. Since discovering the mutant frog and the giant red bird, he has acted more cautiously. It's better to be careful. Jiang Fan was rushing underground. I met many survivors along the way, and everyone took advantage of this precious time to go out and search for supplies. From time to time, an unlucky person would come into contact with a highly poisonous plant, or be bitten by a poisonous snake lurking in the grass, and fall to the ground. Sister, all the plants are dead. Song Yuanfen, who looked like a vegetable, said excitedly. I saw a lot of people going out. Song. Xian was too hungry to get out of bed. She became happy when she heard this. Quick. Let's go to Yida Plaza to buy some food. The building has lost power. Don't know the information from the outside world. Song Xian was unable to contact Jiang Fan and could only wait for death in despair. Who knew things would take a turn? Song Yuanfan secretly hid 2 cans to give him better physical strength. Yes. The country must have started rescue. If we go there too late, we will be gone. Song Xian struggled to stand up. With just a slight movement, she was covered in cold sweat and her eyes turned black. This is a symptom of low blood sugar. Song Xian knew that she would not be able to hold on for long. I will go with you. Song Yuanfan didn't want to take Song Xian, a burden, with him, but thinking of the danger outside, he thought it would be okay to take him with him. If you encounter a ferocious animal, throw your sister down and use it as a human shield. In order to protect me, the sole child of the Song family, my sister will definitely not complain. Good. Song Yuanfan helped Song Xian stand up, and the 2 siblings put on their thickest clothes. Song Yuanfan hid a kitchen knife in his bag, and then they walked out of the room with difficulty. The plant is indeed dead, but the red mist still shows no sign of dissipating. Song Xian walked slowly with the support of Song Yuanfan. From time to time, people walked through the red mist. The 2 sides looked at each other warily, and then disappeared into the red mist. They were only a few hundred meters away from Yida Plaza, and the 2 of them walked for nearly an hour. Song Yuanfan was very anxious, fearing that the supplies would be robbed by others, so he kept urging Song Xian, but Song Xian didn't have the physical strength to walk fast, so she could only grit her teeth and carry on. Finally, they arrived at the entrance of Yida Plaza. And more people were walking in the red mist. Everyone looked hungry and embarrassed. A formerly exquisite mohe people were now all unkempt. When they are hungry, what people are thinking about every day is how to get enough food. And they have no energy to waste time on keeping a watch. Li Qingquan slowly walked to the lobby on the first floor. From time to time, people hurried past. The excitement on their faces was palpable, and they even started to say hello, hello, Dr. Li, Dr. Li, why don't you go shopping? The apocalypse is coming to an end, and Dr. Li will definitely be reused. Doctors have always been the middle and upper class of society and are highly envied by ordinary people, especially for an old Chinese doctor like Li Qingquan. No one knows when he will beg for help. Originally, in the apocalypse, everyone was only focused on getting food and had no time to do these frivolous things, so no one paid any attention to him. The pressure to survive was reduced, and everyone returned to their previous attitudes. Li Qingquan smiled bitterly. What reuse? I'm just an old man. The old woman exaggeratedly said. Look, Dr. Li is so humble. He is much better than that smug little red guy in the convenience store. Li Qingquan frowned slightly and said nothing at this time. Old man Su also appeared. She glared at Li Qingquan with a gloomy expression. Li Qingquan didn't want to get entangled with her, so he turned and left. The old woman looked at Mrs. Su, smiled and left. Mrs. Su stared at Li Qingquan's back, her teeth chattering. Li Qingquan, you have to pay for my grandson's life. She blamed Li Qingquan for her grandson's death. Li Qingquan carefully observed the community. It seems that the effect of the herbicide is pretty good. Soon, he stopped laughing. He saw a purple mushroom emerging from under a pile of poison plants. 1 flower, 2 flowers, 3 flowers. Li Qingquan found countless purple mushrooms. When other plants die and free up living space, the surviving plants grow even more vigorously. In addition, he also saw a pine tree that had been killed by poison, and new green branches sprouted from its roots. In just one night, it grew half a meter tall. Li Qingquan sighed in disappointment. He looked at the blood-red surroundings and was very disappointed. Sure enough, it still doesn't work. He carefully picked some newly grown plants and some shepherd's purse that smelled like shit, and returned home. He would not go out easily at such a dangerous time. No matter how unpalatable the shit-flavored shepherd's purse is, it's better than losing your life. In Yida Plaza, more and more people gathered. The survivors had come to buy things. Once they arrived, they discovered that Yida Plaza was not open at all and there was no one to manage it. There has been a power outage near Yida Square, and people can only use flashlights to search for supplies in the square. Where are the things in the supermarket? They were all taken away. Brothers, don't go down there. It's a waste of time. It's better to go and see other places. Don't believe him. He's deceiving people. FK. Believe it or not, among The crowd. Liu Mingao held a rolling pin and entered Yida Plaza with her roommate Wang Jin and Wang Jin's boyfriend Xiao Qiang. When Liu Mingao saw the messy scene in front of her, her heart suddenly sank. It's over, we're late, Xiao. Qiang secretly glanced at Liu Mingao's slim figure and pretended to be calm. It's okay, let's go upstairs. I see that most people have gone to the supermarket. There is a gourmet shop upstairs in Yida Plaza. There should be some leftover food. Liu Mingao practices dance and fitness all year round and is in excellent shape. There are concavities and convexities. Fat where you should be fat and thin where you should be thin. The body proportions are also very good, with a typical wrist line passing through the crotch. Even loose sportswear can't block your perfect body shape. Liu Mingao felt disgusted with Xiao Qiang's eyes. How dare a poor athlete to have feelings for my mother? Snort. However, she now had to rely on this strong athletic student and could only pretend not to see him. Wang Jin's eyes lit up. Husband is so smart. Let's go up quickly, okay? Xiao Qiang was proud of himself, consciously showing off his IQ in front of Liu Mingao. In the past, as a poor student, he did not dare to have any thoughts about a beauty of Liu Mingao's level, but things are different now. Now is the end of the world. After being trapped with Liu Mingao, spending time together day and night, he inevitably had some thoughts that he didn't dare to think about before. As long as I show my strong abilities in front of Liu Mingao, she will definitely like me. Chapter 31. Beauty is a disaster. Xiao Qiang held up a flashlight, took the lead on the power outage escalator, and led the two girls to the second floor. This is the mother and baby floor, which is full of baby products and children's indoor playgrounds. The three of them are not interested. When Liu Mingao was about to leave, a man walked out of the red mist and said with a smile, Liu Mingao? Liu Mingao was surprised. Jiang Fan. The person coming was none other than Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan came to Yida Plaza again, where there were already many survivors. Jiang Fan did not immediately rise to the ground, but carefully sensed it within a radius of 100 meters. The entire Yida Plaza was enveloped in his perception. There are no powerful mutant creatures. There are about 200 people. There is only one person with superpowers in the underground supermarket. The others are ordinary people. Jiang Fan took a careful look at the superhuman. He seemed to be leading a few boys in a robbery. The brightness of this man's light was much stronger than that of Zhou Xianhao, but it was still far less bright than Jiang Fan's. In addition, the ginger in his body is also golden. After Jiang Fan confirmed that the supernatural being was not in great danger, he found a deserted corner and rose to the ground. There are a lot of people now, so even if a mutated creature attacks you, the possibility of attacking you is very small. The first floor of Yida Plaza has every inch of land, filled with international fashion brands, cosmetics, gold stores, mobile phone stores, automobile stores and the like. It used to be crowded, but now no one would come to a place like this to waste time. After his perception was upgraded to level 5, Jiang Fan gained night vision and disguise, and he could see clearly the products in the store without using a flashlight. This is a Chanel store. Jiang Fan had never come in before, let alone bought anything. One piece of clothing is enough for his salary for a year. Take whatever you want now. As soon as Jiang Fan entered the door, he put all the clothes and accessories into the space. He randomly found a backpack, stuffed some merchandise into it, and pretended to be an ordinary survivor. Then, there is a new energy vehicle exhibition store. There were 2 cars inside, and Jiang Fan also moved into the space. Gold stores, cosmetics stores. Jiang Fan just walked around and collected all the goods from all the merchants on the first floor. Then, he followed the escalator to the second floor. The second floor is the maternal and infant area, and there is no one there. Jiang Fan put all the goods into the space regardless of whether they were useful or not. At this time, he found 3 people coming up from another escalator. One of the women's silhouettes is very eye-catching. Her legs are slender, her wrists pass past her crotch, and her body proportions are the same as those of a model. Does this figure look familiar? Jiang Fan couldn't help but walk towards the other party. Soon, he passed through the red mist and came directly to the other party. They are indeed acquaintances. Liu Mingao, age 23, quality 9 points, perfect figure, women's virtue 10 points, not considered human affairs, comprehensive score 9 points, Ling meets system requirements. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Liu Mingao was Song Shidang's acquaintance at the yoga studio. They often worked out together and were considered half-best friends. Jiang Fan laughed. Liu Mingao? Liu Mingao glanced at Jiang Fan in surprise. She didn't expect to see an acquaintance here by such a coincidence. Jiang Fan looked Liu Mingao up and down without any concealment. Obviously, Liu Mingao was having a hard time during this period. Hey Changzi, whom he was proud of, was not taken care of and looked messy, but this still couldn't hide her beautiful face. This woman is not as smart as who Lily. She doesn't know how to put on makeup to look ugly when she comes out. She even puts on lipstick. Isn't this causing trouble for herself? Liu Mingao frowned slightly. She doesn't like this little convenience store clerk. She has been privately urging Song Shiyan to leave Jiang Fan. Now that Jiang Fan was looking at him like this, he couldn't help but feel dissatisfied and turned away. Zhao Qiang became unhappy. He has regarded Liu Mingao as his forbidden love. Liu Mingao was looked at maliciously by a man, which made him a little angry. Zhao Qiang took a step forward, blocking Liu Mingao behind him. Relying on his height of 195 centimeters, he looked down at Jiang Fan with a look of disdain. Brother, where are you looking? Jiang Fan didn't even look at him. He pretended to dig through his backpack, but actually took out a can of fish from his pocket, like a bad guy trying to trick a little girl. Liu Mingao, do you want to eat? Liu Mingao swallowed hard and stared straight at the can. She has only eaten one meal a day for 3 days, and it was steamed buns. If there weren't a lot of steamed buns frozen in Zhao Qiang's refrigerator, they would have gone hungry. Now that I see the fish, my mouth is watering. Zhao Qiang and Wang Jin also saw their eyes gleaming. Where did you find it? Jiang Fan still ignored the two of them and chuckled at Liu Mingao. Come and stay at my house, and I'll make sure you have enough to eat. Liu Mingao's expression changed. Jiang Fan, what are you talking about? Zhao Qiang immediately discovered the opportunity to show off. FK. You brat, apologize to Mingao. Liu Mingao heard it a bit harsh. Is this what you can call Mingao? Wang Jin also glanced at Zhao Qiang unhappily. She was not stupid and had already discovered her boyfriend's bad intentions towards Liu Mingao. In addition, Liu Mingao wasted food at their house. She had long wanted to drive Liu Mingao out. Jiang Fan calmly threw the can on the ground and crushed it with his foot. The aroma of fish filled the air. The three people's eyes were on fire. This is too wasteful. If there weren't so many people present, Liu Mingao would have liked to lie on the ground, pick it up and eat it. Jiang Fan took his time and said to Zhao Qiang, I'll give you 3 seconds to kneel down and apologize. Zhao Qiang was stunned for a moment, as if he had heard some joke. What did you say? He practices basketball. He is 195 centimeters tall and weighs 200 pounds. Jiang Fan is a man of average build, only 175 centimeters tall. Just looking at appearance, the difference between the two is 20 centimeters. Zhao Qiang rolled up his sleeves, revealing his strong muscles. Jiang Fan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and just when he was about to take action, he found that the superhuman with superpowers actually came up the escalator, with several boys behind him. These people exude a bright red light and are full of malice. Jiang Fan couldn't help but turn his head and look at the escalator. When Zhao Qiang saw Jiang Fan turning his head, he thought he was scared and laughed proudly. Halfway through his smile, he saw several flashlight beams swaying in the red mist. Soon, several men came up from the escalator. The leader was a bald man with a hideous face and pimples on his face. He was wearing a black leather jacket with nothing underneath, a huge green dragon tattoo on his chest, a huge gold chain around his neck, and a watermelon knife in his hand. The people behind the bald man are not good people. Either they are either skinny or bald. All of them have dragons and tigers carved on their bodies, and their faces are ferocious. When the bald man saw several people standing at the escalator, he cursed, Damn it! Why are you blocking the road? Get out of my way. Zhao Qiang's scalp was numb when he saw it. He had already avoided it before, but now in front of his girlfriend and Liu Mingao, it would be too shameful to avoid him. Even after being scolded, he could only bite the bullet and said, Keep your mouth clean. Hey. The bald man looked at Zhao Qiang and the others with a ferocious smile. There were no lights in the supermarket, and the red mist blocked his view. He didn't pay attention at first, but then he realized that there was a beautiful woman. Boss. Look at this BCH, brother. Angkor, look, this girl is so smooth. Ha ha ha. The bald man's eyes shone as he walked straight to Liu Mingao and looked at her unscrupulously. Liu Mingao's heart sank and she looked at Zhao Qiang for help. Wang Jin pulled her boyfriend nervously, worried that he would force himself on her. Several men were weighing the knives in their hands and looking at Zhao Qiang unkindly. Zhao Qiang's scalp suddenly became numb and he was at a loss. Chapter 32 The Woman in the Cage. Jiang Fan looked at the bald men quietly at close range. They were carrying various backpacks, which were bulging with stuff. Some of the backpacks were obviously women's bags and were stained with blood, obviously stolen. The bald man laughed wildly. Beauty, come with me. I'll give you the hot and spicy food. Liu Mingayo's mind went blank. She shrank behind Xiao Qiang, pulled Xiao Qiang's clothes and said tremblingly, "No. I'm not going." The bald man cursed, "Maid, if you don't eat the toast, you will be fined." With that said, he stretched out his hand to pull Liu Mingayo. Xiao Qiang's mind started to heat up and he said, "Brother," snapped. The words have not yet finished. The bald man slapped Xiao Qiang on the head. "Who the hell are you, brothers? Get out of here, big piece. I doesn't hurt much, but it's extremely insulting." Xiao Qiang was furious, clenched his fists, and glared at the bald man angrily. "There are so many people. Do you really dare to take action? The herbicide has taken effect and order will be restored soon. This is a society ruled by law. I don't believe you dare." The bald man suddenly took action, and the watermelon knife in his hand instantly turned golden and chopped it down from top to bottom. Only a flash of golden light was seen. Poof! Under the blessing of golden light, the watermelon knife seemed to turn into a laser knife, smoothly passing over Xiao Qiang's bones and muscles. Xiao Qiang paused for a moment, and his whole body split into two halves, and blood spurted out on the two women's heads and faces while organs and human tissues fell to the ground. Liu Mingayo's mind went blank. Wang Jin rolled her eyes and fainted. The bald man laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha. Take both women away. This girl belongs to me, and the other girls will be given to you. Thank you, Angkor. Long live Angkor." The bald man wiped the blood from his face, pointed at Jiang Fan and said with a grin, "Boy, leave your backpack. I'm in a good mood today and I won't kill you." Jiang Fan looked at Xiao Qiang's body calmly. "It turns out that the ability is to increase the sharpness of metal. Then there's nothing to worry about." Jiang Fan raised his head, pointed at Liu Mingayo and said calmly, "I'm in a good mood too. I'll spare your life and leave the woman and things behind. You can go." "Oh, I don't want a fainted one. It's too ugly. You can take her away. She is mine." Liu Mingayo was so frightened that everyone was dumbfounded. She looked at Jiang Fan in confusion, not understanding why this previously inconspicuous man was so brave. The bald man was furious. "Kill him." One of his men slashed at Jiang Fan with a knife. "Too slow." Jiang Fan calmly glanced at the trajectory of the knife and punched it flatly. The fist hit the man's chest like thunder. Click. The man spurted blood, was knocked several meters away, smashed the glass guardrail, and fell to the first floor. Today, trauma is basically equal to death. This man is hopeless. The scene fell silent for a moment. The bald man was startled at first, and then he laughed ferociously. It turns out he is a person with personal abilities. No wonder he is so rampant. Die. The watermelon knife in his hand glowed golden again. However, his speed is too slow. Facing the superhuman, Jiang Fan didn't hold anything back and kicked him like lightning. The bald man had no time to react before he was kicked in the head. Boom! His head exploded like a watermelon. Plop. Headless, he lost his virginity and fell to the ground. The bald man's younger brother was dumbfounded. The bald man, who is extremely powerful in their eyes, was slaughtered like a chicken. Jiang Fan did not stop, but he kicked forward, and another of his men screamed and fell down from the second floor. Another punch and one of his men died tragically. Jiang Fan moved so fast that others couldn't react at all. A few seconds later, all the bald man's younger brothers were dead, except for the last yellow hair. Wang Mao made a decision immediately and knelt on the ground with a thud. "Brother, I was wrong. Brother, I will give you all the women of Angkor." "Woman?" Jiang Fan's fist stopped 3 centimeters in front of Wang Mao. Wang Mao was so frightened that his crotch became wet. Jiang Fan said with great interest, "Oh? Does it look good?" Wang Mao nodded quickly. "Good looking." "Good looking?" Jiang Fan asked again. "There's a few," Wang Mao said quickly. "At least there are 2 alive, 2 live ones." Jiang Fan frowned slightly. "Come on, take me to see you." He glanced at Liu Mingayo, who was still trembling. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Follow me." Liu Mingayo didn't dare to resist at all, and followed Jiang Fan away tremblingly. After everyone left, Wang Jin quietly opened her eyes, her fear finally relieved a little. She stared blankly at her boyfriend, who had now become a pile of minced meat, and suddenly felt sad. Without the protection of the man, the fear of the unpredictable future suddenly surged into her heart. Wang Jin cried for a while, then suppressed her fear and went downstairs. "I want to call the police. You killed someone, and no one can escape. The police will arrest you." The bald man's home is actually a small convenience store near Yida. Wang Mao opened the door diligently, pointed to the cage in the living room and said, "Brother, all the women are here." Jiang Fan saw the scene inside through perception outside. No matter how he saw it with his eyes, his face would become gloomy. In the living room, there are 2 large dog cages in each cage, 3 women were stuffed. They were naked, with their necks, hands and feet chained to the cage. They could hardly move their bodies and could only huddle and paint while women were brutally abused except for his normal face. His body is full of scars, including whip marks, knife wounds, and cigarette burns. The ground under the cage was full of urine, and the smell was unpleasant. Liu Mingyao looked horrified. Fortunately, he was saved by Jiang Fan, otherwise he would have ended up like these women. These days, she has been living with Zhao Qiang and Wang Jin, not starving, and has no deep understanding of the end of the world. I just saw some cruel things through the video. Just like a glimpse now, she finally saw the dark side of the world with her own eyes. And the cruelest side of the apocalypse unfolded its bloody fangs towards her. Liu Mingyao felt her scalp numb and her body shaking like a sieve. Jiang Fan stepped forward and took a look. 3 women are still alive. The wounds on everyone's body were inflamed. The swelling was very high. There was a foul smell. And some huge flies were hovering in the living room. Jiang Fan knew that these women were hopeless. The 3 women looked at Jiang Fan numbly, without saying a word, but there was deep fear hidden in their eyes, and their bodies were trembling slightly. Jiang Fan sneered, "Wang Mao, you guys are having a great time." Wang Mao Pei smiled and said, "Boss, you can choose whatever you want." How? Jiang Fan suddenly stretched out his hand. Click click. Wang Mao's arms and thighs were all broken off in a few strokes. Wang Mao screamed, "Ah! Ah! It hurts me so much." The numb eyes of the woman in the cage began to glow with hope. Jiang Fan tore off the iron bars of the dog cage with a single effort and loosened the woman's chain from the cage. Clang. Jiang Fan dropped 3 daggers. "He leaves it to you." The 2 women cowered. Only one woman's eyes shone brightly. She kowtowed twice in front of Jiang Fan, and then picked up the dagger with difficulty. Wang Mao was scared crazy. "No. No. Don't do this. It's none of my business." The woman gritted her teeth and rushed forward. The room was filled with Wang Mao's screams. The other 2 women also mustered up their courage, slowly moved out of the cage, and picked up the dagger. Jiang Fan looked at it quietly for a while, then turned and left. Liu Mingyao was so frightened that she didn't dare to stay and left. Chapter 33. Song Shiyan, your boyfriend killed someone. Sister, let's go in quickly. Song Yuanfan was impatient. Okay. Song Shiyan's eyes were full of hope, seeing that food would be available soon. Her hungry body burst out with unimaginable strength. Fortunately, I didn't bow to Jiang Fan. She was secretly glad. If he had compromised with Jiang Fan before, he still had to find a way to get rid of him now. Snort, how can such a poor guy who is unwilling to make progress deserve me? I'm a civil servant. The 2 siblings walked into Yida Plaza with various thoughts. The scene in front of them made the 2 of them despair. There were chaotic crowds everywhere. There was abuse everywhere. Especially the entrance to the underground supermarket was crowded with people leaving and entering, but everyone's hands were empty. FK. There's no food left. Who the hell took all the food away? What's going on? The 2 people's hearts sank, and they quickly followed the crowd into the supermarket. After passing through the smelly fresh food area, they came to the merchandise area. The underground supermarket was empty. In the darkness, only human figures were moving through the red mist, and the flashlight beam was swaying wildly. Song Yuanfan collapsed instantly. Where are the things? Why are there nothing at all? Song Shiyan had been working hard to get here, but now she was disappointed. She could no longer withstand this blow and fell to the ground in confusion. It's over. It's all over. Song Yuanfan angrily grabbed Song Shiyan's hair and shook it violently. It's all your fault. If you hadn't been so slow, we would have been here long ago. Maybe we could have grabbed some food. It's all your fault. Song Shiyan screamed in pain. What are you doing? Yuanfan, let go. The fight between the siblings did not attract much attention because there are people fighting everywhere. 2 people not far away suddenly started fighting over a backpack. Maid, what are you doing? This is mine. FK. This is my thing. You dare to rob it? You are seeking death. Poof. 1 of them took out a dagger and stabbed the other to death. The surrounding crowd immediately went crazy. Killed. Killed. The murderer grabbed the backpack in panic and disappeared into the red mist. Song Yuanfan was frightened and stopped beating his sister. After venting, he calmed down a little and helped Song Shiyan up again. You're looking for death? Song Shiyan hit Song Yuanfan several times. After all, he was his own brother, so he couldn't do anything. He could only say with a sullen face, let's go upstairs. There's a restaurant upstairs. Maybe there's some food left. Song Yuanfan's eyes gleamed. Yes, yes. Sister, you are right. He supported Song Shiyan, avoided the rioting crowd, and headed for the escalator. Wang Jin, Song Shiyan, Wang Jin happened to get off the escalator. When she saw Song Shiyan, she thought of Jiang Fan, and her eyes suddenly turned red again. She said bitterly, "Your boyfriend killed someone." Wang Jin only knew Song Shiyan, but wasn't familiar with her. She didn't know about Song Shiyan's breakup with Jiang Fan's boyfriend. Song Shiyan was stunned for a moment before she came to her senses and said in surprise, "Is Jiang Fan here now?" That her hope of buying food had failed, she wanted to find Jiang Fan again. Wang Jin was a little frightened, so she just repeated, "He killed someone. I'm going to call the police. He's dead." Song Shiyan was a little confused. "What the hell are you talking about? Who did he kill?" Wang Jin also reacted. It seems that Song Shiyan is not with Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's face was rosy, he was very healthy, and he looked like he was not hungry. Song Shiyan's face was sluggish, her hair was disheveled, and she looked weak. Wang Jin deliberately provoked, "You don't know better. Jiang Fan is a murderer and he took Liu Mingyao away. You don't want this kind of man, Liu Mingyao." Song Shiyan thought of that plastic sister with a perfect figure. "I immediately believe 90% of it. Jiang Fan has been looking for women in the group, and she knows it." She suddenly became dissatisfied. "This guy is too much. When I find him, I must drive away those women." Song Shiyan wanted to ask Wang Jin for some information, but Wang Jin ignored her and went downstairs. After walking a few steps, I saw a huge orange cat jumping out of the red mist and snatching Wang Jin away. Song Yuanfan and Song Shiyan felt a bucket of ice water pouring down from their heads, freezing to the bone. Meow. The orange cat swallowed Wang Jin in one gulp, and looked at Song Shiyan and Song Shiyan coldly with its yellow vertical pupils. For some reason, the orange cat didn't attack. It jumped off the escalator and disappeared into the red mist. Soon, human screams were heard from downstairs. "Cat? The cat is coming. Run, FK. What the hell is this? Help. Help." Song Yuanfan and Song Shiyan were granted amnesty. They were so scared that they no longer cared about looking for food, and hurriedly found a store with a smashed glass door and hid in it. Jiang Fan walked towards the wealth center. After walking for a while, Liu Mingyao recovered and asked in horror, "Jiang Fan, why don't you save them?" Jiang Fan said calmly, "They are dead. There is no way to treat such severe trauma now." Liu Mingyao bit her red lips and followed Jiang Fan closely. Not daring to stay away, there was red mist all around, and it was impossible to see 5 meters away. After a while, the two came to the wealth center. Jiang Fan felt it carefully. First, the mutated frog is not in the swimming pool and has gone somewhere. Jiang Fan remained in the virtual state, led Liu Mingyao into Tower C, and then climbed to the 32nd floor. Tang Zirao opened the door and saw Liu Mingyao. "Here comes another beautiful woman," she lamented in her heart but did not dare to show it on her face. "Brother Jiang, come in quickly." "Yes." Jiang Fan walked in calmly. Liu Mingyao was a little embarrassed, but still followed in. Tang Zirao smiled and said, "Are you the new sister?" "Hello, my name is Tang Zirao," Liu Mingyao said coyly. "Hello. My name is Liu Mingyao." Su Menqian and Hu Lili also came over to say hello. Liu Mingyao was very embarrassed. She didn't expect that there were so many women in Jiang Fan's family. Su Menqian went to cook. Tang Zirao massaged Jiang Fan's shoulders and said softly, "Brother Jiang, Liu Mingyao has no room to live in. Her home has 3 bedrooms and 1 living room, and 3 women, Tang Zirao, Su Menqian, and Hu Lili, have 1 room each, and it is already full." Jiang Fan said casually, then dived next door. He walked to the big hole in the wall and punched a few times to create a doorway as high as 1 person in the wall. Liu Mingyao and Hu Lili, who had just arrived, were both dumbfounded. Jiang Fan is so powerful. Liu Mingyao had seen Jiang Fan kill someone, but the killing was not as shocking as the current scene. Tang Zirao and Su Menqian looked indifferent. Tang Zirao looked at the 2 girls proudly. "You will know later how powerful Brother Jiang is." Liu Mingyao secretly thought that following a man like this might not be a bad thing. Jiang Fan took Liu Mingyao to the next room. The decoration of this room was not bad, but it was much worse than Tang Zirao's house. "I have to go to the furniture store to get some furniture in the future," Jiang Fan thought to himself. With a wave of his hand, a pile of brand new 4-piece high-end bed sets fell down. "Put it on yourself." Liu Mingyao was stunned. "Brother Jiang, what are you?" Jiang Fan said calmly, "The portable space is filled with food. Follow me and I will ensure that you will not starve." Liu Mingyao was surprised. "You actually still have this ability?" She felt again that following Jiang Fan didn't seem like a bad thing. The guard level return effect has been upgraded, and historical return special effects have been obtained. All materials consumed by the woman after the red mist descended will be returned. The return effect can also be improved. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Chapter 34. The whole city has a power outage. Falling into despair. Immediately afterwards, prompts rang one after another. 1 day ago, Liu Mingyao consumed 1 steamed bun and got 500 buns back. It has been put into the portable space. 2 days ago, Liu Mingyao consumed 1 steamed bun and got 500 buns back. It has been put into the portable space. 3 days ago, Liu Mingyao consumed 1 steamed bun and got 500 buns back. It has been put into the portable space. Only then did Jiang Fan realize that Liu Mingyao was living a very hard life. In the previous week, all she ate was steamed buns. The two returned to Tang Zirao's room. The food had been prepared, and the 3 women sat aside and waited in a polite manner. As soon as they saw the 2 people coming back, the 3 women stood up. Tang Zirao smiled and said, "Brother Jiang is here. You must be hungry, let's eat quickly." Jiang Fan sat on the main seat. Tang Zirao said again, "Mingyao, you've worked hard too, please eat quickly." Liu Mingyao stared straight at the dining table. Braised steak, cola chicken drumsticks, steamed sea bass, braised prawns, cold shredded shreds. How is this possible? Liu Mingyao couldn't control her saliva, let alone the end of the world. Even in peaceful times, she would not be able to eat such sumptuous meals a few times. Su Menqian smiled proudly and said, "It's just an ordinary meal. Mingyao, don't mind. I'm in a hurry today and don't have time to cook anything else. I'll cook a good meal tomorrow to cleanse my sister." Liu Mingyao quickly shook her head. No, this is too rich." Jiang Fan said casually, "Eat." The 3 women did not move their chopsticks. Liu Mingyao is also very knowledgeable. After Jiang Fan took a few bites, the girls started eating. The girls saw that Jiang Fan was in a good mood. The atmosphere relaxed a lot, and they started talking and laughing softly. Tang Zirao chuckled and said, "Oh, many people went out to buy food today." Su Menqian said disdainfully, "Silly. Where can I buy it now? A lot of plants have died, but the red mist is still there, blocking the view. How can someone deliver the goods?" Who? Lily added, "I watched other people's videos. The roads were destroyed. The roots of some grasses could puncture tires. Traffic could not be restored, at least for a short time." Tang Zirao took a mouthful of meat, put it into Jiang Fan's mouth affectionately, and said proudly, "If there is no way to replenish food from outside, the only food left in Mohe City is packaged food and frozen food. With so many people, how much can one person get? Except for Brother Jiang, who has room to carry around, most people will have to go hungry. Where can I go to supplement? The situation in the countryside is even worse. There is no place for people to live there. The factory is not much better. The power supply cannot be guaranteed and production is impossible." As the 3 women talked, they asked, "By the way, Mingyao, what's the situation outside?" Only Liu Mingyao had seen the situation outside with her own eyes. They were very curious. "Outside?" Liu Mingyao shuddered and turned pale. "It's very chaotic. There is no food in the supermarket, the bugs on the road are dangerous, there are fights everywhere, and people are killing people." When she talked about killing people, she glanced at Jiang Fan timidly, fearing that he would be angry. Jiang Fan said calmly, "Well, I killed a few more bastards today. You go on." Killed again? The 3 women were silent, but not too frightened. They had already seen Jiang Fan kill Zhou Xianhao, and when Liu Mingyao heard this word, she realized that Jiang Fan had killed people before, and she felt even more awed and said quickly, "The people Brother Jiang killed were a group of gangsters, and they themselves deserved death. Brother Jiang left one alive and forced him to go to their lair. I saw 2 cages." Liu Mingyao slowly recounted the tragedy she witnessed. "I heard women being tied up in cages like dogs and subjected to all kinds of abuse. The 3 girls of Tang Zirao all looked ugly and their hearts were beating fast, and I think of the woman in building A opposite to was RD and RD by 4 men and disappeared." Tang Zirao and Hu Lili held Jiang Fan's arms in horror, feeling extremely happy in their hearts. "If we hadn't followed Brother Jiang, our fate would not be much better than those women." "Yeah." Su Menqian and Hu Lili nodded repeatedly. "As long as she is obedient, Jiang Fan has never intentionally tortured a woman." As for Su Menqian, She is simply seeking death. She wants to use the same method she used against Hule to deal with Jiang Fan. She is simply seeking death. Now even she feels like she is a bad person. Liu Mingyao slowly finished talking about what happened outside. The three women were silent. Can order really be restored to this world? After dinner, the four girls cleared the table together. Jiang Fan walked to the balcony and frowned at the outer wall. Sure enough, the ivy came to life again. The ivy that seemed to have been killed by the herbicide once again grew some tiny green shoots. Although they were very small, the ivy did withstand the herbicide. How long has it been? One day, Jiang Fan sighed. It was getting dark. The red mist below the 21st floor turned dark red. Like a ghost, Jiang Fan carefully observed the survivors within the range of his perception. During the day, the number of residents in Building C decreased by at least 1/3. Many people never came back after going out. It is not known whether they were trapped somewhere or dead. However, some people are more lucky and can get some food from nowhere, and it can last for a few days. At this moment, a violent fire suddenly erupted from somewhere in the southeast, dyeing half of the night sky red. After a few seconds, the roar came. Boom, boom, boom. The glass shook violently. The women looked out of the window in horror. What happened? Where did it explode? There won't be a fire, right? Immediately afterwards, the lights in the room suddenly went out. The room suddenly fell into darkness, and the women were startled. Jiang Fan frowned. What's the fuss about? The women quickly shut up and gathered around Jiang Fan. Tang Zurao timidly hugged Jiang Fan's arm, and the man's strong muscles made her feel a little at ease. She bit her lower lip and looked out the window. Now, everywhere you look, everything is dark. The entire Demon Sea has a power outage. The legacy of modern scientific and technological civilization is gradually disappearing. Deep despair enveloped every woman's heart. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35: New Discovery of Returnability. Everyone moves. Jiang Fan took out a box of candles from the space. This is a birthday candle harvested from a cake shop. Tang Zurao, light the candle. Okay. Tang Zurao found a lighter and lit the candle. The weak candlelight gave the four girls a lot of comfort. They sat around the candle and stared blankly. Jiang Fan unexpectedly heard the prompt, Ling. Tang Zurao consumes one candle and gets 500 candles back. It has been put into the portable space. Huh? Jiang Fan was stunned. Why can lighting candles be refunded? Didn't it work if you tested the tissue paper and washing powder before? Could it be that it has something to do with the way it is consumed? Jiang Fan took out a pack of tissue paper and handed it to Tang Zurao. Burned. Tang Zurao was stunned for a moment. Jiang Fan did not explain. Tang Zurao thought to herself, are they paying homage to relative? Without much hesitation, she tore open the package and lit a piece of paper. Ling. Tang Zurao consumes one piece of paper and gets 500 pieces back. It has been put into the portable space. Jiang Fan's eyes suddenly lit up. Sure enough, it has something to do with consumption. Why was the previous method of wiping hands with paper not recognized by the system? Could it be because the items were not damaged? Wrong. When women use toilet paper, they inevitably get damaged, but they never receive it back. So the key is not breakage. Jiang Fan thought about it and took out a new towel. Burned. Tang Zurao was confused, but she still lit the towel obediently. Ling. Tang Zurao consumes a towel and gets 500 yuan back. It has been put into the portable space. Returned again. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. Can burning completely destroy an object? Jiang Fan asked Tang Zurao. To burn a new mobile phone cannot be returned. Even though the plastic casing of the phone was burned through, it was not returned. Now that's fun. Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. He took out a bunch of more things for Tang Zurao to test. Burned Balenciaga stockings and you can return them. Burnt gold ring cannot be returned. The women were all confused and looked at Jiang Fan in confusion. Jiang Fan didn't explain anything, just secretly guessed. Paper, towels, and stockings can be returned, but mobile phones and gold rings cannot. Is it because these things can't be lit? No, the phone can still be lit, it just won't burn completely. Could the system determine whether certain items can be burned out? Only those items that can be burned out can be returned. However, this is unreasonable. The temperature of the candle is not enough. It is true that the mobile phone and gold ring cannot be lit. If I use a chain steel furnace to burn the mobile phone and gold ring, will it be refunded? Is it because of the material? Can't metal be returned? Does the system judge based on the temperature of the flame, or is it based on the material of the item? Jiang Fan thought for a while and decided to test it out. He took out a pair of thick-soled sneakers. Burn it, Tang. Zhao put her sneakers on the candle. In confusion, the uppers were burned and gave off an unpleasant smell, but still no refund. Jiang Fan said again, see if there is still gas on the stove. If there's gas, try burning it. Natural gas is definitely hotter than a birthday candle. Tang Zhao tried the natural gas, and sure enough it didn't stop, but the firepower is very weak. About a small amount of natural gas remaining in the pipeline. Tang Zhao took her sneakers and put them on the natural gas and lit them. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes one pair of sneakers and gets 500 pairs back. They have been put into the carry-on space. Jiang Fan's eyes glowed. Really? It also has something to do with the temperature of the fire. Theoretically, all substances are flammable as long as the temperature is high enough. I can return any item. Jiang Fan was in a good mood and took out a YSL lipstick. A reward for you, Tang. Zhao's beautiful eyes lit up and she happily took the lipstick. Thank you, brother Jiang. She never imagined that in the end of the world, she would actually be able to get a famous lipstick. Now, people outside can't even eat, and I still have lipstick. The other three women looked at Tang Zhao jealously, and then looked at Jiang Fan with hopeful eyes. It's a pity that Jiang Fan didn't come up with more rewards. Slightly stimulating a woman's competitive spirit will help increase service quality. Jiang Fan took out a dozen boxes of candles. There are many candles. From now on, before going to bed every night, you must light a few in each room and keep them lit. Hu Lily is responsible for this. If you do well, I will also reward you with a lipstick. Hu Lily said happily. Okay, brother Jiang. 20 candles were lit and the room became bright. Although it is not as good as the lighting, it is still very good in the darkness. This room stood out. The survivors in building A looked at the building opposite in confusion. Whose house is that? Why are there so many candles? Why are they all lit up? What a waste. HMPH. I don't know when the power will be restored. I'm going to make you cry. It's up to you what you will do when the candles burn out. Jiang Fan received 10,000 candles in return, but he couldn't burn them all. He waved his hand happily. It's not bright enough. Light 20 more. From now on, we will follow this standard. Hu Lily obediently lit another 20 candles. The room becomes brighter and brighter. The women's mood improved a lot. However, the mood of the survivors in Block A is completely different. FK. How many candles does this kid have? The survivors below the 21st floor fell into panic. In the past, when there were lights at home, even if the red mist blocked the view, it was still bearable. The power is out now. Many people don't have candles or flashlights in their homes. Apart from the light that can be emitted from a mobile phone, there is no backup lighting method at all. As soon as the lights went out, the red mist blocked the moonlight again, and everyone in the room was completely dark. Unable to see their fingers, they could only turn on the gas stove miserably to get some light. After more than half an hour, the natural gas in the pipeline was completely burned out and could no longer be ignited below the 21st floor. It was completely plunged into darkness now. Everyone panicked. The sounds of various animals came from outside the window. The night seemed terrifying. Some people huddled in their beds, shivering. Some people, especially those who lived alone, could not stand the terrible darkness. So they walked out of the room in the dark and climbed upstairs. Finally, a large group of survivors gathered in the stairwell between the 22nd and 24th floors. When people are in the group, they finally feel relieved and discuss what to do next. There's no way to live below the 21st floor. How about we move upstairs? Who will take us in these days? Huh? This is a year of disaster. We need to complement each other and help each other. Why don't you take us in? Is there any humanity left? What can we do if they don't open the door? They will always come out. As soon as they come out, we will rush in. It's not necessary. There are many empty rooms upstairs, which are enough for us to live in. This is a security door. It can't be opened at all. Several men who did not believe in evil went to kick down the door. A few minutes later, they came back dejected and out of breath. It can't be opened at all. FK. These bastards upstairs are so inhumane that they won't even open the door for us. When violence failed, a few people started shouting in the corridor, is there any kind person who can open the door and let us stay for the night? It's such a late night. Why don't we stay outside? Okay, my child is only 3 years old. Please let me come into the room. They shouted for a long time, but no one opened the door. No one is a fool. How is it possible to open the door and let outsiders in at a time like this? Everyone started to get angry. I know all the people on this floor. We are all neighbors. We can see each other without looking up. I wonder how you will meet each other in the future, son of a BCH. You are so selfish, that's outrageous. Isn't it just a one-night stay? It's like we're not leaving, damn it. If you have the guts, don't go out. I'll chop them all down if I see them. Residents on the 22nd to 24th floors dared not speak out, so they could only stay behind closed doors. Everyone struggled for a long time, but didn't go in. They could only sleep in the stairwell and corridor, but the ground was too cold and hard, making it uncomfortable to sleep on. Someone braved the courage to return home and brought some bedding. Others followed suit and brought in various things: bamboo mats, camp beds, deck chairs. These people didn't dare to separate and gathered between the 22nd and 24th floors, making the place a mess. Residents on the 22nd to 24th floors complained secretly, but there was nothing they could do. Chapter 36: The Little Lolly Who Can Teleport. 4 o'clock in the morning. Jiang Fan was lying on the bed, not feeling sleepy at all. He used his senses to observe the movements of the survivors downstairs. Most of the survivors below the 21st floor moved to the 22nd floor and above and fell asleep in the corridors and stairwells. There's this guy who's sneaking around and stealing other people's stuff. Jiang Fan was very relieved to see that the person who was stolen was Mrs. Su. Jiang Fan was surprised to find that there were still some people from the 28th floor upwards, but after a day, there was only one survivor left. Everyone else went out in search of food and never came back. The only remaining survivor lives in room 2803 and is a girl. She was lying on the bed shivering and seemed to be sick. The body's light was extremely dim and was about to go out. After a few minutes, the girl stopped moving and the light on her body disappeared simultaneously. Another one died. Jiang Fan's heart was calm in the apocalypse. Death has long been commonplace. At this moment, an accident occurred. A girl appeared out of thin air in the deceased's room. Huh? Jiang Fan sat up immediately with a solemn expression. What happened? He didn't see how the girl came at all, as if she appeared suddenly. Could it be a supernatural power? Teleport, teleport. Jiang Fan noticed that this girl indeed had a ginger in her body. The color is the same as the mutant frog, blue. She's a superpower. It actually has the ability to teleport. This ability is so powerful. Jiang Fan observed carefully for a while. The light on the supernatural woman's body is not very bright, similar to that of Tang Zhao, and she probably has no fighting ability. Jiang Fan no longer hesitated. With a thought in his mind, his body passed through the bed and floor and fell into the 31st floor. Teleportation powers are too dangerous. If she suddenly teleported to Jiang Fan's room and assassinated Jiang Fan, it would be difficult for Jiang Fan to react. Even if she can't defeat Jiang Fan, she can still throw a bomb and teleport away. If Jiang Fan fails to respond in time, the consequences will be disastrous. This girl's abilities are so powerful. Whether she's running for her life or being a villain, she's too powerful. Either surrender to me or die. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed sharply as he crossed the floors and quickly approached the superpower woman's position. The twin ponytail lolly poked her head out of the blue film portal and shouted softly, Zhang Yinruo? Zhang Yinruo? I'm Bian Bian. I'm here to save you. The room was silent. Bian was very scared. She took a flashlight to look at the situation on the bed and couldn't see clearly, so she could only grit her teeth and jump down. Bian walked gently to the bed and found that her classmate Zhang Yinruo was dead. His face was ashen and his eyes were wide-eyed, very scary in the dark. Woo! Bian was so frightened that tears flowed out on the spot, and she backed away repeatedly. The body was motionless. Bian recovered from her fear. Since the end of the world, she has seen a lot of dead people and can barely get used to it. We've already come. It would be a waste of opportunity to go back now. Her portal can only be opened twice a day. Just come here once and go back once. Bian bowed several times to Zhang Yinruo's body and said apologetically, Zhang Yinruo, if you have something delicious at home, I will take it away. You probably won't be able to eat it anyway, right, Tian? Tian saw a school bag placed next to the pillow. There was a pack of unopened Oreos in it, which Zhang Yinruo had just retrieved from outside. Yes. Great harvest. Bian jumped up happily. Zhang Yinruo, thank you. I'm going back. Goodbye. After saying that, she tore open a blue film, got in and disappeared. A few seconds later, Jiang Fan crossed the floor and landed quietly in the room, going so fast. Jiang Fan looked at the empty room, secretly disappointed. It's too late. Jiang Fan frowned secretly. Moreover, if nothing unexpected happens, this girl should have gained the ability to teleport not long ago. In other words, if you accept her and activate the historical return, you will probably get the fruit of enlightenment that she eats. But Jiang Fan looked helplessly at the room. The teleportation ability is so incredible. Where can I find her? She found food here and should be back soon. I can only sit here and wait. Jiang Fan looked at the female corpse on the bed again. There was a black bite mark on the female corpse's arm. She was bitten by an unknown animal, and it exuded a disgusting rancid smell. It was probably due to high fever caused by inflammation of the wound and lack of food that he died. What does that girl with twin tails have to do with her? Jiang Fan just saw in his perception that the girl with twin ponytails bowed to the female corpse. The two must have known each other. He searched the room and found that this was the bedroom where the female corpse had been alive. Jiang Fan found his school bag and textbooks. The female corpse's name Zhang Yinhuo, a freshman girl from Mohei Film and Television Academy, studying stage art. Is it a classmate? Jiang Fan secretly guessed. He found Zhang Yinhuo's cell phone beside his pillow and unlocked it with Zhang Yinhuo's finger. Jiang Fan flipped through the call records. Zhang Yinhuo made dozens of calls to his parents in the past few days, but all of them were missed. Probably the parents are dead. In addition, there were more than a dozen calls made to a person named Bian. Zhang Yinhuo's last phone call was to Bian half an hour ago. The phone is set up for automatic call recording. Jiang Fan turned on the recording of the last phone call. Bian, hey, Yinhuo. You're still alive. That's great, Zhang Yinhuo. Bian, woo. Can you come and save me? Yinhuo, what's wrong with you? Are you hungry? Zhang Yinhuo, I was bitten by a mouse. I have a fever. It hurts so much. I'll try. Just hold on, Zhang Yinhuo, come and save me. My phone is almost out of battery. I'm so scared. Jiang Fan opened the call between the two a few days ago. Bian, hey, Yinhuo, I found a carton of milk today. I can't drink it all for now. Do you want it? Zhang Yinhuo, thank you. Bian, I still have some food. Herbicide was sprayed on the plane, and many people in the group said they would go out to find food tomorrow. I'll give it a try. Okay then. If you have any difficulties, be sure to let me know. Zhang Yinhuo, okay. Yinhuo. After listening to the call between the two girls, Jiang Fan figured out something. Bian and Zhang Yinhuo are classmates. Bian's teleportation ability seems to be very limited. He can't teleport many times a day, and he has to be very careful about the target point. He doesn't know the reason. Jiang Fan also found a group photo in the photo album of his mobile phone, a girl with double ponytails hugging Zhang Yinhuo. Bian, age 18, quality 9 points, playful and cute, women's virtue 10 points, not considered human affairs, comprehensive score 9 points, Ling meets system requirements. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Mine. In order to avoid an accident when capturing Bian, Jiang Fan decided not to allow other survivors to go up to the 28th floor. Of course, if she resists fiercely, she must die, and Jiang Fan will not hold back. Chapter 37. I am the building manager. Who is in favor and who is against? Bian got through the blue film and jumped back home. A black cat jumped over. Meow. Bian said proudly, Coke, look what this is. I found a pack of biscuits. Unopened. I'm the best. Although Bian has the ability to teleport, he has no combat effectiveness. It was so dangerous outside, and she didn't dare to break in. It was actually pretty bad. I'm just a little better than others. I barely have food to eat, but it's hard to be full. The black cat raised its tail and rubbed against Bian's legs a few times. Bian checked it carefully and proudly said to the black cat, Coke, I really haven't opened it yet. I'm so awesome. The black cat was lying lazily on the ground and was not very interested in the biscuits. The black cat has no shortage of food. The cat food is spoiled. However, Bian bought a lot of canned cats during Double 12 last year, and they were all edible, so the black cat doesn't want to eat junk like biscuits at all. When Bian was most hungry, he actually relied on canned cats to survive, which made Coke very unhappy. This Twilight is so stupid, not even hunting. Bian took out a pack of disposable rubber gloves from the freezer, took out a brand new one and put it on his hand. Then he took out a pair of scissors from the freezer, cut a small opening in the biscuit package, took out half of it. Then immediately sealed a biscuit bag with a simple sealer and put it in the freezer. This operation can reduce the possibility of bacterial entry as much as possible and slightly increase the shelf life of open food. It's no problem if you stick to it for at least 8 hours. But we can't guarantee it for any longer. Bian finally ate the biscuit happily. The high sugar and high oil biscuits that were originally disliked by girls have now become a peerless delicacy. Bian lay comfortably on the bed. The cookies are so delicious. She calmed down for a while, checked the freezer again, and said to Coke sadly, We only have 2 ham sausages left, a pack of instant noodles, and half a pack of biscuits. We still have to find ways to collect food, but now food is getting harder and harder to find. The black cat didn't even raise his head. Meow anyway, the old bosses are not short of food, just don't steal my food. Bian thought for a while and said, I think there should be food at Zhang Yinro's house, but it's too dark and I don't dare to stay longer. I'll go over and look for it carefully during the day. Tian decided to search in the building. Even if he couldn't find any chance, he would find an unoccupied room and then teleport in to search for food. The black cat wagged its tail leisurely. Bian grabbed her twin ponytails, thought about it for a while, and said to herself, it should be fine. It's a residential building over there, so it probably won't be too messy. She remembered the chaotic scene she saw when she went to Yida Plaza yesterday, and she couldn't help but shudder in her heart after she was scared away by the big orange cat last time. She gritted her teeth and went to Yida Plaza again. As a result, I met the survivors going to Yida Plaza collectively. As soon as she landed, she was robbed with a knife. Not only was she unable to collect food, but her backpack was also snatched away. Xiangxin has lingering fears. By the way, tomorrow I will act ugly, act older, and put on my mother's old clothes, so as not to be stared at by others. Tian pulled her hair and thought, by the way, Coke, if I find purified water, I will bring it back. Now that the water and gas are stopped, we can only drink purified water. The black cat is almost asleep. Bian felt that he had a heavy responsibility, nodded heavily and said, don't worry, Coke, I can handle it. Yida Plaza Song Xian and her younger brother hid in an empty maternal and infant food store in the darkness. She turned on her phone again, took one look and became desperate. No signal. Why no signal at all? Song. Jiang Fan looked outside with fear. Keep your voice down. Don't let that cat hear you. Song. Xian trembled. Ever since that orange cat appeared, he never walked past it again. It seems to regard humans as mice in the past and has a great time playing with it, and the dark Yida Plaza is its playground. At least several hundred people were trapped in the supermarket. Anyone who tried to escape was killed by the orange cat. What's even more troublesome is hunger. People who come here looking for food don't find much food at all, not even water. The entire Yida Plaza was filled with hungry and thirsty survivors in this store. In addition to the siblings, there are 2 groups of survivors. One group is a couple, hiding in the corner. The woman is no longer good. She was bitten by a big mosquito, and her whole face was swollen like a bun. She had a fever, and her body temperature was so high that it was scalding. Another group of 3 young men grabbed a few Snickers bars, but one of them was dying. The man was so thirsty that he couldn't bear it, so he drank a few drops of tap water, and then fell into a coma. Until now Song Xian was unbearably hungry and thirsty. Looking at the food photos Jiang Fan had posted in the mobile phone group, she suddenly started to cry. Why? Why didn't he save me? Why did he give food to these bees? I am his girlfriend. In the darkness, a man growled, don't be so noisy. If you want to go away and die, don't bother me. That boy, shut up your woman quickly, or I will kill you. Brother, don't be angry. Song Yuanfan smiled in fear and said anxiously, sister, stop crying. Stop crying, Song. Xian's mood completely collapsed and she was still crying. Song Yuanfan was afraid that the man would be angry, so he slapped Song Xian with his hand snapped. Song Xian was stunned by the beating. She looked at her brother stupidly. You hit me, Song. Yuanfan was furious. Stop howling. They will kill me. And, do you want to track the cat? You hit me too. Song Xian was so wrong that she wanted to die, but she didn't dare to cry anymore. She looked desperately at the darkness before her. It's all Jiang Fan's fault. If he hadn't given me food, how could I have been so miserable? Isn't it just a breakup? How can you be so heartless? Isn't it all your fault for the breakup? Who keeps you from making progress? Jiang Fan turned on his senses and walked downstairs step by step. There was not a single survivor on the road. It wasn't until the 24th floor that I saw a group of people building floors in the corridor. No one dared to separate. They were all huddled together. It's very dark here. With only weak moonlight coming in, most people are already asleep. A few people were still discussing something in low voices when they saw Jiang Fan coming. They stood up in surprise. They knew this convenience store clerk. He had pinched the strong Zhou Xianhao to death 2 days ago and was very difficult to deal with. Jiang Fan knocked heavily on the fire door with his fist. Duong. Everyone woke up immediately. What happened? What happened? Jiang Fan took a good rest and said, from now on, I will serve as the building manager of this building. Who is in favor of it and who is against it? Everyone's expressions changed. They were all unhappy, but no one dared to object openly. Jiang Fan looked at the people in front of him, and most of the yellow light on his body turned into reddish. It seems like you have a lot of opinions. Whoever has an opinion can raise it now. Still, no one dared to speak. Several mature men did not make any move. They knew that they were not as good as Zhou Xianhao, so of course they did not dare to provoke Jiang Fan at this time. A middle-aged woman stood up and said, "Then I said, I think there should be an election," snapped Jiang Fan raised his left hand. The middle-aged woman's neck was twisted into a knot, and she was beaten so hard that she spun twice in the air and fell heavily to the ground. Motionless, Jiang Fan smiled brightly and said, "Yo, you really mentioned it?" Everyone gasped. Chapter 38. Someone will die in a fight. Jiang Fan asked again, "Who else has an opinion now?" No one dared to say a word. Jiang Fan nodded with satisfaction. "Okay, since everyone agrees, I will stop being disrespectful and let's talk about something now. 1. From now on, everything above the 28th floor is my private residence, and no one is allowed to go up there. 2. Whoever goes to we downstairs and dig up 100 kilograms of plants every day, I will give him some food and water." After saying that, Jiang Fan turned around and went upstairs. "Keep these people downstairs. They can be used as human shields. If any animals come up from downstairs, they will attack them first to give Jiang Fan time to react. In addition, letting them go eating on the first floor is also to let them explore the road and see what animals are harmful to humans. More importantly, try whether the mutant frog still attacks people." Everyone looked at each other. "He's serious? Why do eating? Really? Impossible. How can he have so much food? This kid is a murderer. Don't believe him." HMPH. Aren't there many people dying these days? One person's death is nothing. How about try it? I won't go. It's too dangerous on the ground. If you get bitten by an insect, you will most likely die. Some people are hesitant, and some people have already started to take action and go home to get knives suitable for weeding. I'm going to starve to death anyway, so I might as well give it a try. HMPH. If we don't remove the weeds, we won't have anything to eat. Wouldn't we still die? Mrs. Su said with a stern look on her neck. "No. I won't go. I'm too old to do any work. If you have food, you must give it to me. Otherwise I will sue you." Her words aroused the agreement of a group of elderly people. "That's right. A job like weeding must be done by young people, but I can't do it. If there is food, why not give it to us? Don't today's young people even know how to respect the elderly and love the young?" Someone kindly reminded Mrs. Su, "This is not the past. Don't cause trouble." Mrs. Su said plausibly, "How did I get into trouble? I'm just asking for what I deserve." Neither Zhou Xianhao nor Jiang Fan had ever beaten her, which made her gain confidence. Inexplicably, Jiang Fan must not dare to hit the old man. A group of old women also echoed, "Isn't Jiang Fan just a convenience store clerk? Didn't he rely on the care of us owners before to survive? If he wants to be the building manager, he needs our support." Yes. He must have secretly hid goods from the convenience store to have so much storage. This is a time of crisis, and these supplies must be used to save everyone. I think we can have a good talk with that young man. Jiang Fan. Respecting the elderly and caring for the young is the traditional virtue of the Dragon Kingdom. He has so much food, why doesn't he give us some? Doesn't he just want money? Let's give it to him. The young man felt very speechless when he heard the old man's words. "Is Jiang Fan someone we can negotiate with?" The body of the woman just now is still on the ground. "Fine, good words can't persuade the devil to die. It's up to you anyway. It is a matter of complete benefit and no harm to them. If Jiang Fan is willing to compromise, then they will also try to talk to Jiang Fan. If Jiang Fan doesn't compromise, then let others die. It's none of his business." The dead woman lay quietly on the ground. There are no relatives here, and no one cares about the body. "Flies will soon come. Buzz 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 buzz. The people around me despise it. FK. You can't throw this thing here." "Then you threw it away. Why should I throw it away? Everyone is starving now, and no one is willing to do anything if they can." A thin man stared at the female corpse, his eyes glowing green. He hasn't eaten anything for 2 days and is going crazy with hunger. The pale skin of the female corpse actually aroused his appetite. This woman was beaten to death. She should be fine, the thin man thought to himself. After a while, the thin man stood up and said, "It will stink if you leave it any longer. Let me move it. Can anyone help me?" Everyone lowered their heads and no one said anything. The thin man pretended to be angry. Damn it. I'll do it myself. The thin man dragged the woman's body downstairs. However, he did not throw away the female body, but dragged it back to his home. The thin man didn't come back for a long time, which attracted some people's attention. The two men looked at each other and went downstairs calmly. Mrs. Su suddenly screamed, "Who the hell is going to steal my things? Is it you?" "None of my business. You are the one closest to me. Go away." "Damn old woman, don't cause trouble. Ah. How dare you tickle me." There was chaos in the corridor. After more than 10 minutes, it became quiet. A man covered his face in horror. His face was scratched to pieces by Mrs. Su. Nowadays, if there is trauma, it is a very serious matter, and it is likely to cause inflammation and death. FK. "Damn old woman. I'll kill you." A group of people quickly grabbed him. "Almost done. Why compete with an old woman?" Mrs. Su hid behind a group of people and yelled, "You are a thief. I want to call the police." The injured man gritted his teeth with hatred, but he was an honest man and did not dare to really hurt Mrs. Su. "Treat the wound quickly. Don't let it get infected. Someone advise," the injured man said in fear. "Who can help me?" "Who is the doctor?" Dr. Li is a Chinese medicine practitioner, so he should be able to do it. Li Qingquan lives on the 24th floor. The injured man knocked on Li Qingquan's door. Li Qingquan originally didn't want to go out. There was a lot of chaos outside, and he was afraid of being robbed, but the injured man kept knocking, and Li Qingquan could only say in the cat's eyes, "What's up, doctor?" "Li, help me." Li Qingquan glanced at his wound through the peephole and hesitated for a moment. After all, he was a doctor. He couldn't bear it and said, "Come in." Li Qingquan cautiously opened half the door. No one dared to rush in at this time. No one knows whether they will get sick or injured, and no one wants to offend the doctor. The injured man cried and said, "Can I still be saved?" Li Qingquan put on his myopia glasses, read it carefully, and shook his head. "Not a good chance. Give it a try." He took out alcohol, disinfected the wound, and applied some iodine. In the past, such a wound would have required medicine, but now I don't have anything. Sigh. Just ask for your blessings. The injured man is devastated. Who would have thought that a fight with an old woman could be fatal? "Help me. Help me." Dr. Li Qingquan was helpless. It was difficult for a clever woman to make a meal without rice, and there was nothing he could do now. Jiang Fan may be the only one in the whole building who has medicine, but that person is very difficult to deal with, and Li Qingquan will not take the risk of coming to ask for medicine for a stranger. Li Qingquan hesitated for a moment and took out a box of pine needles. "I just picked up the pine needles from the pine tree downstairs." In traditional Chinese medicine, pine needles can treat trauma, but the pine trees have changed now, and I don't know if it has any effect. "Do you want to try it?" The injured man gritted his teeth. "Good." Li Qingquan nodded. "Then I'll try." He chopped up the pine needles and spread them evenly on the wound. The rest is left to fate. Jiang Fan was at home and saw all this clearly. Interesting, considering that Chinese medicine might be useful to him. Jiang Fan's heart moved and he sank to the floor. Chapter 39. Find a personal doctor. Jiang Fan arrived at the 28th floor and walked down the stairs in order not to expose his ability to pass through walls. When the survivors saw Jiang Fan, they were so frightened that they took a few steps back. Several old people looked at Mrs. Su. Even though Mrs. Su was talking very enthusiastically just now, she saw Jiang Fan, but she felt a little frightened. Jiang Fan knocked on Li Qingquan's door without even looking at her. After a while, Li Qingquan walked to the cat's eye and was surprised to find it was Jiang Fan, and his scalp tightened. "Have I offended him?" Li Qingquan was very nervous. Jiang Fan came to the door, so he could only open the door and said calmly, "Jiang, building leader, what can I do for you? Look at your patient." Jiang Fan walked into the room on his own. Li Qingquan didn't dare to stop him and followed behind him to close the door. The injured man stood up involuntarily. Jiang Fan looked carefully at the wounds on his face and asked, "Dr. Li, can you cure me?" Li Qingquan found that Jiang Fan didn't seem to have any ill intentions, so he breathed a sigh of relief and sighed. "The chance is not high. There is too little medicine." He wanted to ask Jiang Fan if he had any medicine, but he didn't dare to ask. Jiang Fan was non-committal. "Let me take a look at the medicine you took." Li Qingquan took out the remaining pine needles. Jiang Fan doesn't understand Chinese medicine, but he also knows that a doctor is still very useful, especially Chinese medicine. Unlike Western medicine, Western medicine is almost useless without modern pharmaceutical technology. Traditional Chinese medicine is full of herbal medicine. However, Jiang Fan is not sure how useful the herbal knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine can be in this era of rapid mutation of animals and plants. All I can say is that having something is better than nothing. Jiang Fan asked again, last time I saw you selling a very smelly dish, Li. Qingquan nodded. The mutated shepherd's purse is very smelly and even worse when cooked, but it is indeed edible and seems to be very nutritious. These days, my staple food is this kind of shepherd's purse. Unfortunately, there is no natural gas now, so I can't cook it. I don't dare to eat it. Raw, Alice. Li Qingquan felt very sorry. Jiang Fan asked Li Qingquan to take some out. A stench like a dry toilet hit his face, and Jiang Fan almost vomited out his overnight meal. Li Qingquan looked calm. The injured man said expectantly, "Is this food edible?" Li Qingquan nodded, "Yes. I eat this every day, and there is nothing else to eat at home." The injured man looked at Li Qingquan, whose face was glowing red, and said pitifully, "Can you give me something to eat?" "How dare you eat it raw?" "Dare to eat? I won't lie, for a few days anyway. At least I'll be your hungry ghost." The injured man is a bachelor. Li Qingquan took out a large bowl of raw shepherd's purse and placed it in front of the injured man. "I just picked it yesterday. This kind of shepherd's purse is very special. It can last for 3 days without spoiling." Ugh. The injured man smelled the smell and couldn't help but feel nauseated. Jiang Fan looked at the injured man speechlessly. "Can you eat this stuff too?" He admired Li Qingquan very much. "How did you find this thing edible?" Immediately afterwards, the injured man picked up a little bit and tried. "Ugh, if you eat this kind of shepherd's purse, your mouth will become pulpy, just like diarrhea coupled with a stinky smell. The taste is simply devastating." The injured man vomited while eating. He managed to eat less than half a bowl and could no longer continue. He was completely exhausted, slumped on the chair, staring at the ceiling aimlessly, and made retching sounds from time to time. Li Qingquan smiled and said, "You are very good. I only took 2 pills for the first time and couldn't stand it. In fact, as long as you eat it every day, you can get used to it. If there is water and gas, you can still drink soup, although the taste. Yeah, but very nutritious, shit-flavored soup." Jiang Fan was speechless. This old man is a real warrior. The injured man waved his hands feebly and said, "Kill me, I won't eat it again until I die." Ugh. Jiang Fan laughed. "Keep track of his condition carefully. I want to know if the herbs have any effect." Li Qingquan vaguely felt that his opportunity had arrived. "Okay." Jiang Fan waited for 2 hours and came back again. The injured man's wounds were actually scarred. Moreover, in Jiang Fan's perception, the brightness of the injured man's light began to stabilize. The injured man also felt the changes in himself and said happily, "Dr. Li, my face doesn't seem to hurt anymore." Li Qingquan checked it carefully and sighed. "I didn't expect that after the pine tree mutated, the effect was much better than before. Maybe this evolution may be an opportunity for mankind." "You are lucky. Go back and rest." The injured man left happily. Jiang Fan was also very satisfied. This Li Qingquan really has 2 brushes in this case. Jiang Fan decided to help him. Jiang Fan said, "From now on, I will give you food every day. Do you want it?" Li Qingquan was stunned for a moment, staring at the instant noodles. He is also a normal person who would eat a shit-flavored meal when there are normal meals to eat. Li Qingquan, who is in his 50s, has long known that there is no unreasonable kindness in this world, so he asked cautiously, "What do I need to do?" Jiang Fan is very satisfied with this kind of rational person. "Only rational people will not do unpredictable things. If my woman gets sick, you will be responsible for the treatment. If she is cured, she will be rewarded, and if she is not cured, there will be no punishment. How about that?" Li Qingquan was tempted to put it bluntly. This is being Jiang Fan's personal family doctor. Li Qingquan has never been a pedantic person. Good. Li Qingquan decided to move on the spot. The valuable things in his house are all solid wood furniture. These things cannot be taken away. His wife passed away early, and he only had a son and a granddaughter in the next city. After the red mist came, they could not be contacted. Li Qingquan brought some personal clothes in a medicine box, which contained simple medical equipment such as silver needles, medicine scales, alcohol, and iota. For Jiang Fan took Li Qingquan upstairs. Everyone in the corridor saw it and were filled with envy. Mrs. Su became more and more angry. Last time, her grandson died because this old man Li Qingquan refused to treat him. Today, Li Qingquan cured another BD who was fighting with her. "Damn. Old man, you are deliberately going against me. Now, no one else can go upstairs, only Li Qingquan can go upstairs, which makes her even more unbalanced. Jiang Fan took Li Qingquan to the 28th floor and found a house farthest from Zhang Yinluo's home. Jiang Fan was very cautious and could not let Li Qingquan live on the 32nd floor. Li Qingquan is confused. I live here? How do I open the door? Jiang Fan stretched out his hand and passed his arm through the security door. Then his fingers returned to normal and he easily unlocked the door. Click, the door opened. Jiang Fan has become more and more proficient in the use of virtualization and can skillfully control the virtualization of local limbs. Li Qingquan was surprised. Is this a superpower? It's amazing, Jiang Fan said non-committally. I will come to you if anything happens, but don't go out. It's very chaotic now. I'll have someone bring you food right away. Jiang Fan doesn't trust Li Qingquan very much and won't show too many abilities in front of him. Jiang Fan returned home and took out a box of instant noodles, a large bag of ham sausage, and a box of purified water. Su Menqian, Liu Mingayao, please take the things to room 2809 and give them to Dr. Li Qingquan. The two girls were a little afraid to go out, but they were even more afraid to refuse Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan is not worried. He can monitor the entire building through his perception. There is no danger above the 5th floor for the time being. It's different below 5 floors overnight. The land cleared by herbicides once again grew denser and denser, with various insects, ants and mice swarming around. The brief safe outing time ended and everyone was trapped in the building again. Even the building is not safe. The lower floors are crawling with mutated rats, mutated cockroaches, and mutated mosquitoes that appear from time to time. If you get bitten, you can only hope for good luck. In addition, a strange creature resembling a giant earthworm appeared in the drainage pipe. They walk through the sewage pipes disgustingly, but the brightness of their bodies is very low, so they don't seem to be much of a threat. Chapter 40, Monster in the Toilet. 2nd floor. Liu Dongqiang held Chen Yun in his arms and stood at the window looking out. Just now, a group of people walked out of Block C and ran downstairs to cut the grass. Isn't this a disease? The grass grows so fast now, how can it be possible to finish mowing it? Why are they mowing the grass? Chen Yun yawned. Who knows? Crazy. Brother Qiang, let's go sleep for a while. She had eaten and drank enough yesterday and had been crazy with Liu Dongqiang all night, and now she was very sleepy. Yesterday, while the herbicide was taking effect, Liu Dongqiang took Chen Yun out to look for food. Liu Dongqiang is still a bit clever. He knew that large supermarkets like Yidi's supermarket would definitely be overcrowded, and you might not be able to grab anything there, and it might even be dangerous. Liu Dongqiang took Chen Yun to a nearby Silly-Bird Inn and used his unlocking ability to easily open the door and enter. There are hundreds of parcels piled up in the express delivery points that have not been picked up in time. Liu Dongqiang and Chen Yun found a lot of food and drinks, enough for them to eat for a few days. Moreover, with this successful experience, both of them are full of confidence. There are at least hundreds of express delivery collection points in the entire Mohe city. Even if 1/10 is left, it will be enough for them to feed them for a long time. Liu Dongqiang scratched his crotch. He felt itching more and more, and even smelled a faint smell. When he took off his pants and took a look, he was stunned. FK, what the hell is this? I saw red pimples all over my thighs, which was very disgusting. Chen Yun was also frightened. FK, what the hell do you look like? You can't be sick. She quickly looked at her body and saw that it had not changed yet. Damn. This BD looks so honest. How come he still has this disease? Damn. Don't infect me. Chen Yun cursed Liu Dongqiang secretly. In her heart she still has to rely on Liu Dongqiang to survive. She doesn't dare to offend him, so she can only endure. Chen Yun picked up a bottle of pure water and went into the bathroom, sitting on the toilet to wash her body. Liu Dongqiang also said anxiously, after you wash me, I have to wash it too. Before he finished speaking, the toilet suddenly made a loud noise. Wow. A black tentacle-like object as thick as a fist stabbed out of the toilet like lightning and penetrated Chen Yun. The tentacles penetrated Chen Yun's body from bottom to top and came out of his mouth. Chen Yun's eyes froze, and her whole body instantly froze on the spot. Liu Dongqiang's eyes widened and his mind went blank. Damn it. Poof. The black tentacles retracted like lightning. Blood splattered everywhere. Chen Yun's body lay limp on the ground, like mud, with blood flowing all over the ground. Ah! Liu Dongqiang screamed in horror. The sound was so loud that it was impossible for a human to make it. The people who were mowing the lawn on the 1st floor and the surrounding neighbors were all alerted. Jiang Fan also discovered this scene just now. The light on a monster in the sewage pipe suddenly became 10 times brighter, and then it pierced a woman's body. Immediately afterwards, The light on its body dimmed again, and it got into the sewage pipe and left. Jiang Fan looked grimgrass. This thing is so dark that it can suppress the usual brightness and pretend to be harmless to humans and animals. Tang Zhao also heard the man's screams and felt horrified. Brother Jiang, what's going on? It seems like he's someone from our building, Jiang Fan said with a cold face. I gonna go see. He immediately sank to the ground and quickly landed in an unmanned room on the second floor. Then he walked out of it and kicked open the door of Liu Dongqiang's house. Bang! Liu Dongqiang slumped on the ground with a pale face, unable to get up at all. When he saw Jiang Fan, he let out an unconscious cry of terror. The bathroom was full of blood. A female corpse was lying next to the toilet. The toilet was also broken all over the floor. The drain exuded a foul odor and was stretched all the way around. In Jiang Fan's perception, the monster had left the room and went to the first floor through the sewage pipe. Jiang Fan observed silently for a while and then breathed a sigh of relief. This kind of monster probably has limited physical strength and can only travel below the 5th floor. It is not dangerous to people upstairs as long as it doesn't threaten you. Jiang Fan said nothing and turned to leave. Liu Dongqiang finally came to his senses, picked up the food and water, and crawled upstairs. He didn't relax until he reached a crowded place above the 22nd floor. When everyone saw that he was covered in blood and had a strong smell of urine and feces, they immediately said, "Don't come here. It stinks. Go and stay there by yourself, kid. Don't come over here." Liu Dongqiang looked horrified and kept repeating, "There's a monster in the toilet. There's a monster in the toilet." Soon, the legend of a toilet monster spread among the survivors. At around 12 noon, most of the people who went to mow the grass came back. The person who mows the most grass can only cut more than 60 kilograms, while the few people can only mow more than 30 kilograms. These residents are all city dwellers and have never done this kind of work. In addition, during this period of time, I didn't eat well, my body was weak, and I didn't have the right tools, so everyone was exhausted. To make matters worse, 2 of them were bitten by unknown insects. The wound was swollen to the size of a palm, and it hurt when touched, and the body began to have a fever. Dissatisfaction began to brew among the crowd. FK. That convenience store clerk is playing tricks on us. It's impossible to finish 100 pounds a day. I don't even know if you will give us food. I'm so thirsty. What should I do if I'm almost out of water? MRS. Sue was secretly happy. She and a group of elderly people couldn't cut grass. She was very dissatisfied when she saw young people going downstairs to cut grass in exchange for food. Now seeing the opportunity, he immediately said loudly, "According to me, mowing the grass was a waste of time. It must have been the convenience store clerk who deliberately tormented us." Someone immediately echoed, "It will grow back tomorrow after cutting it, so what's the use?" "Yes. He just tormented us on purpose. Let's go discuss with Jiang Fan and give us some food. It doesn't need to be too good. Just 3 loaves of bread per person per day. This will." He hit someone. "Let's go together." "I don't believe he dares to hit so many people." "Yes. We must go together. Let's hug each other and he won't dare to make a move." Tian mingled in the crowd and listened quietly. "It sounds like there is a man named Jiang Fan in this building who has a lot of food. She just teleported here not long ago. I searched Zhang Yinluo's house first, but found no food." Unwilling to give in, she went down the stairs and saw a group of people discussing something intensely. Tian is now dressed in the clothes of a middle-aged woman, and her face is deliberately ugly, making her look inconspicuous at all. Tian mingled in the crowd and listened for a while, then decided to follow the crowd upstairs to take a look. That guy named Jiang Fan is finished. With so many people trying to grab his food, he won't be able to keep it. Maybe I can take advantage of it and mess around a little bit. Just when the crowd was discussing in full swing, a leisurely voice came from upstairs. "You guys are having a lively discussion. Tell me." Jiang Fan came down from the corner of the stairs with a hint of amusement on his face. The scene suddenly fell silent. Jiang Fan didn't sleep all night. After lunch, he hugged Hu Lily and took a nap. Jiang Fan slept for more than an hour and basically regained his energy after his comprehensive physical fitness increased to 90. He could even stay awake for 48 hours without feeling too tired. It's just that Hu Lily is very big and soft, so sleeping with her in her arms is just a pleasure. As soon as Jiang Fan woke up, he noticed that there was an extra superpower in the building, the blue ginger, inside the body, and the outline of the body proved that she is the female superpower. Tian, you are indeed back again. Jiang Fan was secretly happy. He didn't dare to delay, for fear that the other party would run away. So he quickly put on his clothes and went downstairs. He walked to the 25th floor and heard a group of people passionately claiming to attack him. Jiang Fan didn't pay attention at all. He only cared about Beyond mingled in the crowd and did not leave. Jiang Fan immediately turned the corner and said with a smile, "You guys are having a lively discussion, tell me." He glanced at Beyond vaguely. The other person seemed to think that his disguise was very clever and he was not too vigilant. Jiang Fan walked downstairs step by step, and everyone involuntarily gave way to an open space. Even though they were talking lively, they became timid again when they saw Jiang Fan. Even the few people who had just gone downstairs to mow the grass and were bitten did not dare to say anything. Thinking of Jiang Fan casually killing 2 people, no one dared to take the lead now. Tian was puzzled. "What are you afraid of?" "A group of people are afraid of one person." She stared at Jiang Fan, but she really couldn't see anything special about this handsome young man. Jiang Fan seemed to stop casually, but actually stopped right in front of Beyond. He smiled at everyone and said, Tell me, everyone." Looked at Mrs. Su again. Mrs. Su gritted her teeth, took a step forward and said, "Young man, whoosh, a bright white sword flashed across old Mrs. Su's neck. Few blood sprayed like a fountain, splattering on the ceiling. Gilulu. Mrs. Su's head rolled to the ground and landed right in front of Beyond. Beyond's mind went blank. Jiang Fan didn't know when a watermelon knife appeared in his hand, and he said in surprise, "Huh? Why did you stop talking halfway through?" There was total silence. Chapter 41. The Fourth Power. Subspace Travel. Everyone was trembling, and no one dared to speak anymore. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Since you don't say it, forget it. You mowers, if you haven't cut enough 100 kilograms yet, hurry up and deliver 100 kilograms of grass to the 27th floor before 5 p.m. We won't wait until the expiration date." The men who were mowing the grass became nervous and went downstairs to work with various knives without taking a break. At this time, Jiang Fan suddenly stretched out his hand, grabbed Beyond's collar, lifted her in front of him with one hand, and said with a smile, "Tian, do you think you are disguising well, Tian?" Tian was startled and was about to struggle when she heard this and said in surprise, "Huh? How do you know who I am?" "No. You have the wrong person, Yazi, who didn't look very smart." Jiang Fan smiled, reached into his pocket, and actually took out a bottle of pure water from his pocket. He squeezed the bottle with his fingers and poured it on her head. Yan, who was over 1.5 meters tall, covered her head with both hands, her legs fluttering in the air, and her toes couldn't even reach the ground. "Ouch! What are you doing, Jiang?" Fan wet her face with water and wiped it hard several times, causing the makeup to fall off. "A quirky little beauty appears." Jiang Fan smiled with satisfaction. "Not bad, very beautiful. Come with me." The survivors were dumbfounded. "This ant is actually a beauty. Jiang Fan can encounter this. This guy is so lucky." The men were crazy with jealousy, but no one dared to say a word. Jiang Fan carried Beyond upstairs with a smile. Beyond was frightened. "What are you going to do?" "Let me go." "Can I give you money?" "Just let me go." Thinking that this man had just killed someone, Beyond's face turned pale and his heart almost jumped out of his throat. Jiang Fan shook his head. "What's the use of money, Tian?" Tian's mouth flattened and she started crying. "Oh no, I'm only 18 years old. I don't want to talk about a boyfriend. Jiang Fan sneered and knocked a chestnut on Beyond's forehead. "What are you fantasizing about?" "Oops." Tian covered her head and cried, let me go, Jiang Fan felt annoyed and said coldly, "If you cry again, I will strip you naked and throw you downstairs, Tian." She shut her mouth instantly. Jiang Fan carried her back to Tang Zirao's home. Tang Zirao opened the door and took a look, surprised and said, "This is Jiang." Fan calmly said, "Your new sister." Several women stretched their heads to look. Beyond saw several beauties and immediately knew that this man was definitely a pervert and that he was in doom. However, she was relieved to see the women's faces glowing and not being abused. Beyond is still making the final struggle. You can't win my heart like this, Jiang Fan said casually. "Don't be so sentimental. Why do I want your heart? Anyway, you should pose in whatever pose I want you to pose, Tian." Tian's cheeks turned red. She wanted to open the portal and escape, but she was not sure she could escape the man's control, so she could only endure it at this time. Jiang Fan took out a bunch of snacks. "Do you want to eat potato chips, chocolate, seaweed chips, beef jerky?" Tian's pupils dilated. 7 days ago, Tian consumed one enlightenment fruit, subspace shuttle, and returned 600 of them. It has been put into the portable space. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Got it. Without saying a word, Jiang Fan took out a subspace shuttle fruit and ate it. Fruit of enlightenment, subspace shuttle. 7 stars. After eating it, you can gain the ability to travel through subspace. Eating the same fruit repeatedly has a chance of improving the star rating. Subspace shuttle. 7 stars, you can open a subspace channel and go to any location within 1,000 meters, up to 2 times a day. You can create a subspace anchor point within 100 meters, up to 1 time a day. 7 stars, it's actually a 7-star fruit. Jiang Fan was stunned. He has eaten hundreds of fruits, but he has not accumulated a 7-star ability. This fruit is a 7-star, as expected of the teleportation ability. The star rating is astonishingly high. Jiang asked stupidly, "Do you also have a superpower fruit?" As soon as she said it, she knew that she had said something stupid. Looking at how strong Jiang Fan was, she knew that he must also be an able person. Jiang Fan chuckled, "Follow me, and I'll ensure you have nothing to worry about eating and drinking, including the superpower fruit." Of course Jiang didn't believe it. "Tch. You think I am a 3-year-old child?" Jiang Fan turned his hand, and a handful of black lychees appeared in his palm. Jiang was stunned, her eyes as wide as eggs. "Huh? Why do you have so many?" Of course Jiang Fan couldn't explain, so he just ate a few pills. After eating, I turned my hands over again and got another handful. Jiang was shocked and said, "Magic, pocket, space." Jiang Fan said calmly, and then finished another handful. After eating more than 20 subspace shuttle fruits, a reminder finally rang in my ears. Ling. Subspace shuttle upgraded to 8 stars. You can open a subspace channel and go to any location within 5,000 meters, up to 10 times a day. You can create a subspace anchor point within 1,000 meters, up to 2 times a day. Teleport anywhere within 5 kilometers, 10 times a day. 8 stars is a lot better than 7 stars. Jiang Fan laughed with satisfaction. He patted Jiang on the head, pointed at the pile of snacks and said, "Eat it. It's all yours, Tian." Tian rushed forward with shining eyes. "Wow. Ling." Tian consumes 1 pack of beef jerky and gets 600 packs back. It has been put into the carry-on space. Ling. Tian consumes a pack of potato chips and gets 600 packs back. It has been put into the carry-on space. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Eat before you talk." After saying that, he turned around and left. Jiang rolled her eyes, hurriedly peeled off the pillowcase and stuffed all the food into it. Then he tore off a blue film as quickly as possible and looked into the subspace. The subspace anchor point at home was as conspicuous as a torch in the dark. Jiang quickly pointed the landing point at the anchor point and then got in. "Hey. Want to catch me?" "There's no way." Before she left, she turned around and was horrified to find Jiang Fan standing at the door, looking at her with interest. Jiang was shocked. Oops, she lost her footing and fell directly from the exit. "Want to run?" Jiang Fan drew his hand in the air, and a huge blue film with a radius of more than 1.5 meters appeared. Jiang Fan walked in calmly. He also saw Tianzin's special anchor point, so he pointed his landing point at the special anchor point. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42. Tian and Cat. In Tian's home, a blue film suddenly appeared. Black Cat Cola raised his head lazily. Then Tian fell down and fell to the floor, screaming in pain. "Cola, can this also fall? Bipeds are so stupid." Just as Tian was about to get up, a huge blue film appeared again. Jiang Fan walked out calmly, put 1 foot on the back of Tian's head, and pressed her face to the floor again. "Pi-ag? Ouch!" Tian screamed. "It hurts. It hurts. It hurts." Jiang Fan laughed, raised his feet, and lifted Tian up with one hand. The little girl's forehead was red. Tian was so ashamed and angry that she wanted to die. "You must have done it on purpose." "Yes." Jiang Fan picked Tian up casually. "Is this your home?" The black cat stood up, walked to Jiang Fan's leg and rubbed it. Jiang Fan only glanced at it and stopped paying attention. It was just an ordinary cat. He held the cat in one hand, and Coke fell asleep comfortably on Jiang Fan's arm. Tian's eyes widened and she said sadly and angrily, "Coke. You usually don't let me hold you, Coke." Meow. Jiang Fan quickly looked around the entire room. Within his sensory field of vision, nothing could block his prying eyes. Jiang has no dangerous tools at home, only a kitchen knife and a fruit knife in the kitchen. Jiang Fan felt relieved, found a chair and sat down on his own, and picked up the anime figures in the display cabinet with interest. Jiang's bedroom is full of figurines and stuffed to the brim. The computer chair is a colorful pink. The headset has bunny ears. It turns out she is a middle school girl. Jiang Fan thought to himself. He walked around the room and put all the items into his carry-on space. Jiang was dumbfounded and said aggrievedly, "That's my thing, Jiang." Fan smiled slightly. "It's mine now, Jiang." Fan swiped his finger, and a huge blue film appeared when he left just now. He left a subspace anchor at Tang Zuo's house. Now it's easy to find your way home. Jiang was dumbfounded. "Eh? How can you do it too? Did you copy my ability, Jiang?" Fan sighed. "As a result, I am a middle school girl who almost guessed my ability." Of course Jiang Fan would not explain, and walked into the blue portal with the cat in his arms. "Come with me, Tian." Tian was helpless. Her lifeblood is in the hands of bad people, so she can only bow her head. When the two returned home, Jiang Fan took out Tian's belongings from the random space. "Okay, come over and eat." "Eat?" Tian didn't know what it meant and didn't dare to resist. She ran out of teleports today and couldn't run away even if she wanted to, so she could only do as Jiang Fan said. Tian came to the living room. The rich aroma of food comes. Tian's beautiful big eyes widened. The table is covered with dishes. In the middle is a hot pot, as well as more than a dozen side dishes such as dry roasted beef and fried bamboo shoots, and a variety of dipping sauces. There is also a steaming pot of rice. Jiang was dumbfounded. This. How is this possible? She felt like she was dreaming. Tang Zuo and other women stood up to welcome Jiang Fan to his seat. Jiang Fan looked at the table. There are too many people, and there are not enough tables to seat. He picked a large round table from the space and placed it in the middle of the living room. 4 women transferred the food to the large round table. Jiang Fan sat down and said, "Let's eat." The 4 girls sat down and started eating. Jiang was a little at a loss. She didn't expect that at this time she could actually eat such a sumptuous meal. Tang Zuo smiled and said, "Come, sit here with me. I want to eat more today." "Who?" Lily and Liu Mingyao both laughed knowingly. Su Menqian secretly glanced at Jiang Fan, feeling a little resentful. "Brother Jiang hasn't come to my room for 2 days. There are more and more women. When will it be my turn again? I won't fall out of favor, right?" Tian was not very reserved. He broke the jar and sat down to eat. "Wow. It's delicious. I haven't eaten meat for many days. It's so delicious. Do you still have natural gas here, Jiang?" Fan was in a good mood and explained, "No, it's a propane tank for camping, Jiang." Fan collected thousands of bottles in the supermarket, enough to last for a long time. Jiang's little mouth was stuffed to the brim, almost making her eyes filled with tears. "Wow. This is delicious." The 4 girls looked at Jiang, who was not eating, and said proudly, "HMPH. Brother Jiang asked you to follow. You will make a lot of money." "Yes, except Brother Jiang. Where else can I eat such rich food?" "Follow Brother Jiang. Make sure you have enough to eat, and you can also eat the superpower fruit." Tian raised his head and said in surprise, "Superpower fruit? Can we eat it too?" She was filled with anticipation. Her experiences during this period made her deeply understand the importance of superpowers. A teleportation fruit gave her a huge help. If she could get another combat-oriented fruit, her chances of survival would increase a lot. Jiang Fan smiled meaningfully. Of course, Jiang Fan had eaten and drank enough. A sharp light flashed in his eyes, but on the surface he smiled brightly. "How about it? Do you want to stay? You can eat enough if you stay, Jiang." Fan has made up his mind that as long as Tian refuses, he will kill people immediately because her ability is so special. If Tian was not willing to stay here, Jiang Fan would not be able to restrict her actions, and Tian has seen too many abilities of his own. No matter what, Jiang Fan could not let such a powerful ability user go beyond his control. If the teleportation ability is used for assassination, Jiang Fan may not be able to withstand it. If Tian surrenders to the enemy, Jiang Fan will be in big trouble. So now she only has 2 choices left: or surrender or die. Tian didn't know that she was already on the verge of death. If given a choice, of course she would not agree. However, the world today is no longer the same as before. Even if the 2 of them escape, what will happen? She often goes out to collect supplies and sees a lot of dark things in some places. People still reluctantly abide by the previous order, but there are also many places where order has actually broken down. The strong control everything. What's worse is that even if you obey the strong man's orders, it is difficult to eat enough because of lack of food many times. Even the strong themselves find it difficult to ensure 3 meals a day. Things are different here in Jiang Fan. Jiang is not stupid. She is also secretly observing the mental state and physical condition of the 4 girls. Obviously, these women live a prosperous life. They even have the time to put on makeup, wear fashionable clothes, and dress themselves up. This is a manifestation of extremely abundant material life. In other words, Jiang Fan is definitely capable of providing women with enough supplies. Where did he get the supplies? Tian rolled his eyes. Did you take the merchandise from Yida Plaza, Jiang Fan smiled lightly. Smart, that's just a small part of it. While several people were chatting, Coke walked up to Bayan. Meow, woof, woof, meow, woof, woof woof. Jiang Fan decided to find time to try. Jiang Fan looked at his phone. It was 3:30 in the morning. I can't sleep anyway, so I might as well get up and do something serious. Jiang Fan took out a set of thick mountain climbing clothes from the space and put them on. He returned to his rental house and rushed up happily with his eyes rolled. Jiang Fan took out a few slices of steak and threw them to Bayan, who jumped up and down with joy. Don't let anyone else come in while I'm not here. Byakugan seemed to understand. Woof woof. Jiang Fan rubbed the dog's head, stood up, and made a stroke in the air with his finger. A huge blue membrane appears leading to the warp. Woof woof. Bayan jumped back nervously and looked at the blue film curiously. Coke lay calmly on the ground. Damn it, you ignorant stupid dog. Jiang Fan opened the map on his mobile phone and entered the subspace. The NSA should have guns. Where is the nearest NSA? Chapter 43. Got a gun. Female superpower. Jiang Fan stood in the subspace and felt like he was standing in a huge water droplet. He could see the buildings and roads outside, but their shapes were constantly twisting, shaking, and tangled together, like a painting stained by water. If you want to find the target location, you have to carefully distinguish it from a group of deformed objects. Jiang Fan finally found the location of the National Security Bureau, and then discovered the second problem. Since the buildings in the physical space are constantly twisting like water plants on the bottom of a river when viewed from the subspace, it is extremely difficult to accurately locate them if he accidentally opened the portal into the wall or under the ground. Tian wouldn't be able to get out. Moreover, Tian can only open the door twice a day, and must leave one home. Then she only has one chance to try every day. Once she drives to an inappropriate location, such as the ground, wall, or high altitude, she can only wait another day. Jiang Fan smiled slightly. It doesn't matter to me, I can go through walls anyway. Jiang Fan casually opened the portal 3 meters underground to the National Security Bureau. Disappear. Jiang Fan's heart moved and he calmly walked out of the portal. He did not come to the ground immediately because in his perception, there were dozens of survivors in the National Security Bureau, gathered in several rooms on the 3rd floor. There are actually 3 superpowers among them. Jiang Fan carefully observed these 3 superpowers. The 3 people were 2 men and 1 woman. Judging from the costumes, 1 man and 1 woman should be members of the National Security Bureau. The other man is an old man in his 70s, the ginger of the male safety team member, and the old man is green. Just like Jiang Fan, the brightness of the light on the 2 of them was average, only slightly stronger than that of ordinary people. The ginger in the female security team member's body is a gray color, and the light on her body is extremely bright. Although he is still about twice as bad as Jiang Fan, he is already the strongest superpower Jiang Fan has ever seen. Jiang Fan was very cautious and did not approach the 3 of them rashly. He observed it and quickly found the location of the gun and ammunition storage room. Jiang Fan immediately walked through the underground. Soon he entered a basement. There are 4 large iron cabinets in the room, which use fingerprint recognition plus mechanical key to unlock. Through his perception, Jiang Fan saw 2 large iron cabinets containing neat rifles and pistols. The other 2 are bullets. The guns and ammunition were all neatly arranged, and they looked like they had not been touched long ago. Has very strict management of guns, and guns are managed by specialized gun warehouse managers. Around the time when the red mist came, the warehouse manager had an accident and the gun was not taken out at all. Mine. Jiang Fan laughed. He wanted to put away the iron cabinet, but failed. He pushed the cabinet with his hand and found that the cabinet was fixed to the wall with expansion screws. Only independent items can be received in the carry-on space. Jiang Fan found a crowbar from his pocket and inserted it into the gap between the wall and the cabinet. Open it for me. Jiang Fan used force and pried out a big gap. After several times in a row, he forcefully pried the cabinet off the wall. Pinghe Road, National Security Bureau, 3rd floor. 3 psychics sat around a small table. Zhang Zilin glanced at the survivors' rooms worriedly and said, Everyone's situation is very bad. We have to leave here. It's getting harder and harder to collect food here, Liu. Gangfeng, a male security team member, took a sip of purified water, carefully looked around to make sure no one was paying attention, and then whispered, Zilin, I've said it a long time ago, we can't save so many people. In this situation, it's good that we can take care of ourselves. Lao Yang, are you right, Yang? Jiao nodded and bowed. I listened to the two chiefs, Liu. Gangfang disdains, whispering sound, flatterer, Zhang. Zilin corrected, Uncle Yang, I'm just an ordinary security team member, not the leader, Yang. Jiao smiled apologetically and said, hey, it's the same, it's the same. Old Yang's life was saved by the two leaders. Just do whatever you say, Yang. Jiao is a security guard who works in a nearby community. After the red mist fell, I accidentally gained superpowers after eating a black lychee, and I could hear very subtle sounds relying on this ability. Yang Jiao barely survived later. Zhang Zilin followed the orders of her superiors and organized people to rescue the surrounding survivors, and rescue Yang Jiao. Zhang Zilin said firmly, according to the order, we must send these survivors to the nearest TV station gathering point, Liu. Gangfeng was very angry. Now we can't contact our superiors. Who knows what the situation is at the TV station? When did this happen? Are you still stubborn enough to act on orders? Are you crazy? Zhang Zilin shook her head stubbornly. No, I will act according to the final order. If you want to leave, you can leave by yourself. I won't stop you, Liu. Gangfeng was extremely depressed. If he couldn't defeat Zhang Zilin, he would have wanted to take Zhang Zilin away by force and leave these losers behind. Of course, just thinking about it, Zhang Zilin's family is a martial arts practitioner. She once won the 3rd place in women's sanda in the country, plus she has superpowers. Liu Gangfeng dared to take action and was beaten into a pig's head in minutes. If it weren't for Zhang Zilin's good looks and Liu Gangfeng still having some thoughts about her, he would have run away long ago. Liu Gangfeng tried hard to persuade him. Zilin, let's, Zhang Zilin interrupted him seriously. Liu Gangfeng, let me say it again. Don't call me Zilin. We are not lovers. This is inappropriate, Liu. Gangfeng was very depressed. Zhang Zilin continued, we have too few weapons. Animals are getting stronger and stronger. In order to better protect the people, I think the top priority now is to get the guns in the warehouse, Liu. Gangfeng sighed, the firearm storage room is in the basement. It has a 2-story security door. You can't get in without a key. Lao Wang has been unable to be contacted. He is probably dead. There is really no good solution, Zhang Zilin said calmly. You have to find a way even if you have no choice. Liu Gangfeng, I just came to this bureau. You are an old man in the bureau and you are familiar with the environment. Think about it, is there any other way to get in? For example, the ventilation duct, Liu. Gangfeng was helpless. Beauty Zhang, that's a gun storage room. It's safer than our director's office. How could there be such a big loophole? At this moment, Yang Jiao suddenly said, Chief, I heard a sound underground. A loud crash, Liu. Gangfeng's expression changed. He immediately took out his pistol and became nervous. Huh? Zhang Zilin immediately became serious. Is it an underground creature, Yang? Jiao listened carefully for a while and said doubtfully, it shouldn't be an animal. It sounds like the sound of metal hitting. It seems like someone is smashing something. Someone is breaking things underground. Is the corpse fake? Liu Gangfeng couldn't help but shuddered and said in panic, Lao Yang, don't talk nonsense. He did believe in ghosts before, but now the world is getting weirder and weirder, and he is also afraid. Zhang Zilin asked in a deep voice, where? Over there. Yang Jiao pointed in one direction on the ground, about 3 or 4 meters underground. Zhang Zilin looked in the direction of his finger and said doubtfully, Liu Gangfeng, is the gun storage room over there? Liu Gangfeng was stunned for a moment, and then he realized, yes, it's right over there, and the depth is about the same. Someone is stealing a gun. Zhang Zilin's expression suddenly became serious. The world is so chaotic now. Once guns leak out, we will be in big trouble. No, this must never happen. Zhang Zilin climbed over the window like a gust of wind, jumped down from the 3rd floor, and quickly rushed to the gun storage room. Moreover, she was also curious about how the other party entered the storage room. Jiang Fan pried off the 4 large cabinets with satisfaction. Then he violently opened a cabinet, took out a pistol, and touched a few of them with surprise. Dark and heavy. This was the first time he had touched a real gun, and he was very curious at this moment. Jiang Fan suddenly turned his head and looked at the ceiling during the perception. The brightness of the female superpower increased rapidly. Almost reaching the brightness of Jiang Fan, the female superpower rushed over quickly. Jiang Fan was surprised. Can all this be discovered? He couldn't figure out the other party's abilities and didn't want to take risks, so he opened a portal and walked into the subspace. Chapter 44 The Strongest Mutated Animal, Orange Cat. Jiang Fan did not close the door immediately. He stood in the subspace and looked at the iron door with his perception outside the iron gate. The female superpower has a very hot figure, her legs are straight and toned, and her buttocks are raised high, full of healthy beauty, but Jiang Fan would not take the risk of accepting her. Jiang Fan still stayed away from such a powerful woman. If she makes a sneak attack, Jiang Fan might really get caught. There are women everywhere. There's absolutely no need to take any risks at this time. Jiang Fan felt that his physical strength was rapidly depleting. It turns out that staying in subspace consumes physical energy. With his own comprehensive physique, he can feel the consumption. With Yan's comprehensive physique, it is estimated that he will not be able to stay in the subspace for a few seconds. Jiang Fan no longer delayed, found the location of Yida Plaza, and opened a door. I remember that there are big-name mattresses on the 3rd floor of Yida Plaza. There are more women, so there must be enough mattresses. The gunroom fell silent. Zhang Zilin banged on the big iron door, but there was no movement inside. She can only be helpless and furious. People inside, listen, if you can, don't come out, otherwise I will catch you, eh? Few minutes later, Liu Gangfang and Yang Jiaoyi arrived holding flashlights. Liu Gangfang asked, didn't catch it, Zhang. Zilin was very angry. He won't come out, Yang. Jiaoyi listened carefully. There seemed to be no one. I didn't hear any human breathing, Zhang. Zilin was very annoyed. Impossible. I was watching from the door. How did he run away? Liu Gangfeng checked the iron gate and found no traces of man-made damage. If he can get in, he will naturally have a way to leave. I suspect he is a person with supernatural powers. His ability is probably to drill holes in the ground or something like that, Zhang. Zilin also thought of this and frowned. Then he probably took the gun away. Duong, Liu Gangfeng kicked the big iron door hard, but it didn't move at all. He said helplessly, he obviously came here just for the gun, Zhang. Zilin said with a cold face, as long as he dares to use a gun, I can find him and arrest him. Ordinary citizens are not allowed to use guns. This is the iron law of the Dragon Kingdom, Zhang. Zilin is very confident in her own strength. The opponent's ability is obviously a skill such as digging the ground, so his frontal combat effectiveness is not much stronger. Liu Gangfeng was speechless. Catch him? People can burrow into the ground. How do you catch them? And even if we catch him, what will happen? Where to keep him? Send to jail. Where's the prison now? Yang Jiaoyi looked around worriedly. There were ferocious plants growing everywhere, and he felt very unsafe. Leader, let's go back. The new portal that Jiang Fan opened casually was far off, and opened directly over Yida Plaza. JiangFan.com looked down and saw that about 5 meters below was the roof of Yida Plaza, which was covered with various facilities such as central air conditioning, outdoor units. If it were Yan, the door would probably have been opened in vain and she wouldn't be able to get out at all. Jiang Fan simply jumped out of the blue portal and landed on an outdoor machine. Perception unfolds. He checked carefully and discovered to his surprise that there were hundreds of people hiding in Yida Plaza. Why are they hiding here? There isn't much food here. Jiang Fan felt a little baffled. These people were hiding everywhere, scattered in various shops in Yida Plaza. Everyone was huddled in the corner, as if they were hiding from something. Jiang Fan became cautious. He examined it carefully with his senses, found nothing. Jiang Fan instinctively felt that there was danger. With so many people hiding, there was no way there would be no problems at all. He felt a little hesitant. Jiang Fan was debating whether to leave immediately, when an orange cat broke into his perception. The orange cat is as big as a large SUV, and its body exudes dazzling light like the sun, which is much brighter than the light on Jiang Fan. If Jiang Fan's combat power is 1, then orange cat is at least 5. Jiang Fan's expression became serious. This is the strongest animal he has ever discovered, much more powerful than the mutated frog in the fortune center. The silly dog husky at home is even more incomparable. That stupid dog is a shameful mutant beast. Ever since I recognized my lord, I have been lazy and have gained weight on my belly. As for the group of red giant birds that attacked the transport plane that day, the distance was too far, beyond the range of perception, and Jiang Fan could not estimate it at all. The orange cat walked leisurely into the lobby on the 1st floor, licked its paws, and walked towards Yida Plaza. Suddenly, it waved its claws towards a corner. Ah! A woman was swept out with her head covered. She screamed in fright, stumbled and wanted to run away. The orange cat slapped her back again. The woman turned somersaults 7 or 8 times on the ground before stopping. The orange cat jumped over happily, lying next to the woman and watching. Just like a cat teasing a mouse, the woman could not bear the pain and wanted to pretend to be dead and get through. The orange cat is unhappy. He lifted the woman up with his claws, and the sharp cat claws cut a long bloody gash on the woman's chest. The woman screamed and crawled away in pain. The orange cat became happy again and followed the woman slowly without killing her, just teasing her whenever a woman goes to a corner, bring her back whenever the woman pretends to be dead. He picks her up with his paws and continues playing with her. A few minutes later, the woman was dead and lying motionless on the ground. The orange cat fiddled with her a few times with his paws, and then lost interest when he found that the woman still didn't move. After a while, the orange cat grabbed another unlucky guy from the corner and played with it to death, then catch him again, and then play to death. After playing to death for 7 or 8 times, the orange cat probably had enough fun and slowly left through the main entrance. Jiang Fan calmly watched the orange cat leave the range of perception before jumping across the floor to the 5th floor. He wanted to leave just now, but he saw his ex-girlfriend Song Shiyan, even though he could only see the outline. Jiang Fan recognized her immediately, having known Song Shiyan for so long. I have long been familiar with the details of her body. The orange cat was indeed stronger than the mutant frog, but it did not pose much of a threat to Jiang Fan. The mutated frog can use its tongue to sneak attack from a long distance outside the sensing range, making Jiang Fan very difficult to defend against. The orange cat must be close to him in order to pose a threat. Even so, Jiang Fan had enough means to save his life, whether it is blurring and escaping underground, or opening the door to enter the subspace. The orange cat can return without success. Jiang Fan also had some insights. Ability restraint is more effective than simple comprehensive physical fitness. Jiang Fan walked around the 5th floor. There are very few businesses on the 5th floor, only Yida Cinema now. The entire Yida Plaza is plunged into darkness. The survivors in the corner heard Jiang Fan's footsteps and did not dare to come out to see. Jiang Fan didn't stay long and came to the 4th floor again. The 4th floor is the food floor. All the food had been looted by the survivors. Jiang Fan continued to go downstairs. He crossed the floor and landed on the 3rd floor, then walked straight in the direction of Song Shiyan. Soon, Jiang Fan met Song Shiyan. He took out his flashlight and shot at Song Shiyan and Song Yuanfan were lying on the ground. They had been in darkness for a long time, and were suddenly illuminated by bright light. Unable to open their eyes at all, Song Yuanfan sat up, blocked the light with his hand, and said cautiously, "Who? What are you doing, Song?" Shiyan also struggled to hold herself up and looked over with squinted eyes in pain. She vaguely saw the figure of a man standing behind the flashlight, but she couldn't see who it was against the light. Another group of survivors were 2 men. They also looked at Jiang Fan in confusion. Who dares to wander outside with a flashlight now, without fear of that weird cat? Lying in another corner was a man and a woman, both dead, their bodies smelling stinky. Jiang Fan looked at Song Shiyan now, with unkempt hair, sallow complexion, and chapped lips. She has no trace of the charm of a 7-point beauty. How could I be fascinated by this kind of woman? Jiang Fan reviewed himself and walked into the room. As soon as I entered the door, I smelled a foul smell. These people probably relieved themselves in the room. Jiang Fan covered his nose in disgust. Song Shiyan, you're still alive. I'm really surprised. Song Shiyan was stunned for a moment and said in surprise, Jiang Fan. You are Jiang Fan. Give me something to eat, for you to eat. Jiang Fan sneered. He leisurely turned the flashlight into camping mode and placed it on the table. The whole room lit up. Everyone finally saw Jiang Fan's appearance clearly. The face is rosy, the skin is smooth, the hair is neat, and the clothes are clean. There is no trace of the apocalypse in him, just like ordinary people who go shopping at Yida Plaza on weekends. The other 2 male survivors opened their eyes wide. This man must have something to eat. The 2 of them looked at each other, their eyes flashing fiercely, but their hands secretly moved towards the dagger underneath them. I'm saved. Song Shiyan immediately saw the hope of escaping and cried bitterly, Jiang Fan. Why are you here? Do you know how long I have been hungry? Give me something to eat. Get me out of here, Song. Yuanfan grabbed Jiang Fan's sleeve and shouted, quick. Give me a drink. I'm so thirsty. What the hell are you still looking at here? Hurry up. Boom. Jiang Fan kicked Song Yuanfan in the stomach. Chapter 45. Don't be stupid. I don't kill women. Song Yuanfan flew out without saying a word, hit the wall, and slowly slid down. After a few seconds there was no breath left when he landed. Jiang Fan said calmly, it's really not polite to touch people with such dirty hands. Song Shiyan didn't know that Song Yuanfan was dead yet, So she pointed at Jiang Fan and screamed, "Jiang Fan! He is your brother-in-law, how dare you hide him? He turned against you." Jiang Fan suddenly reached out and grabbed her hand. Click. Song Shiyan's palm was folded at a strange angle, and the back of her hand was tightly attached to her forearm. Ah! Song Shiyan almost fainted from the pain. Jiang Fan smiled lightly and said, "I don't like being pointed at." The two male survivors took advantage of Jiang Fan's back to them and quietly stood up. They had just taken 2 steps when they felt a flash of white light in front of their eyes and their consciousness fell into darkness. Jiang Fan shook off the blood on the dagger and threw it into the portable space. At this time, the 2 bodies collapsed to the ground, and blood flowed all over the ground. Killed. Song Shiyan's eyes widened in horror. Like a duck having its throat pinched, she finally realized that the Jiang Fan in front of her seemed completely different from before. Don't kill me. It was my fault before. Don't kill me. Woo woo woo." Jiang Fan patted Song Shiyan's cheek and said with a smile, "Don't be stupid. I don't kill women." Song Shiyan's face turned pale and she breathed a sigh of relief. Poof! A dagger stabbed her chest. Song Shiyan looked at Jiang Fan in disbelief. You said you won't kill." She felt her body's strength disappear rapidly. Jiang Fan blinked innocently. "Ah. Did I say that? I forgot. I'm sorry. You lied to me." Song Shiyan died with great resentment. Jiang Fan looked at Song Shiyan coldly and waited for a long time, but there was no prompt from the system. Even though Song Shiyan is dead, the return rate has not been reduced. This is a good thing. A dangerous smile appeared in the corner of Jiang Fan's eyes. If this is the case, there will be much room for maneuver. For example, for a dangerous woman like Zhang Zilin, you can use her to increase the return multiplier first, and then kill her. It's an advantage for you. Jiang Fan took one last look at Song Shiyan's body, and then walked into the darkness with a flashlight. He strolled around the 3rd floor, and most of the goods in the store were messed up by the survivors, including the mattress store. It was also occupied by a group of survivors, and the store was filled with feces and urine. Jiang Fan took one look and left in disgust. When he walked to the dark place, he turned on the void and sank into the ground, rushing towards the center of wealth. Several survivors looked at each other. That person just left. He held up a flashlight. The strange cat didn't kill him. Is it the fault of the cat leaving? I haven't heard any screams yet. The strange cat shouldn't be at the door. If he can leave, so can we. Everyone looked at each other. 2 people gritted their teeth and ran out. A few minutes later, the screams of 2 people came from the door. "Ah, help! Help!" Everyone was dumbfounded. The strange cat is still guarding the door. Then how did that person leave just now? After a while, Jiang Fan returned to the wealth center after a lot of back and forth. It's not even 5 a.m. yet. Jiang Fan decided not to go home yet and went to the other 2 buildings of the fortune center to check on the situation. His perception range is 100 meters, and he can barely see part of the floors of Tower A and Tower B, but it is not comprehensive. It would be better to go and see with your own eyes. Maybe there are some good women out there that you can take. Jiang Fan came to the bottom of the swimming pool first. The mutated frog is still lying in the swimming pool. In Jiang Fan's perception, it was like a bright flame, very eye-catching in the night. What is this? Jiang Fan suddenly discovered that there were densely packed small light spots swimming around the mutated frog. It has a body as big as a palm, a round head, a tail and 2 legs. Looking at its appearance, it seems to be tadpole. Jiang Fan was surprised this mutant frog actually laid eggs, and tadpoles develop at an alarming rate. He passed by the swimming pool the day before yesterday and hadn't seen any tadpoles yet. Did you grow back legs today? Wouldn't it be possible to turn into a frog in 2 or 3 days? The size of this kind of tadpole is definitely abnormal, and most likely it has inherited the combined physique of a mutated frog. What about superpowers? Could tadpoles inherit the superpowers of mutated frogs? Jiang Fan's expression became serious. A mutated frog would be dangerous. If it's a group, then the fortune center really won't be able to stay any longer. Jiang Fan had no good solution for the time being, so he headed to Block A. Without looking further, he came to the underground of Building B, found an empty room, and jumped all the way up. Finally stopped on the 5th floor. Jiang Fan carefully observed the status of survivors in the entire building. Like Tower C, almost no one lives below the 21st floor of Tower B. However, the people in Tower B are concentrated on the 2 floors above the 32nd floor. All doors on the 32nd and 33rd floors are open. No one lives in the corridor. Everyone lives in the room, but most of them are 10 people crowded into one room, and many people have their hands and feet tied with ropes. Jiang Fan observed for a while and found no particularly outstanding looking girl, so he headed to Block A, as usual. Jiang Fan went to the 5th floor of Tower A to observe the entire building. The situation in Tower A is different from that in Towers B and C. Everyone lives above the 22nd floor, but no one in Building B can open the security door, so they are crowded into occupied houses. The unoccupied houses were empty. While the occupied houses were mostly occupied by 5 or 6 people, it seems that someone is coordinating housing matters. Jiang Fan took one look and understood that someone was definitely managing the organization. Moreover, this kind of management is somewhat coercive, otherwise normal people would not be able to allow others to enter their houses. Interesting. Jiang Fan walked out of the empty room and walked up the stairs step by step. The stairwell on the 21st floor was piled with debris, as if to defend against the attack of some kind of animal. When we reached the 25th floor, the door of the residence room next to the staircase suddenly opened, and a very feminine beauty came out. Jiang Fan couldn't help but be attracted to her. The woman's appearance is not outstanding, at least not comparable to that of Tang Zurao and other girls. She can only be considered pretty. Her figure is neither fat nor thin, her size is not exaggerated, and her legs are not particularly perfect, even a little thick, but her every move is particularly attractive. Bai Xinji, age 23, quality 9 points, full of femininity, women's virtue 10 points, to be in the boudoir, comprehensive score 9 points. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Ah! Bai Xinji exclaimed in fright. She didn't expect there was someone outside. Jiang Fan stared at her unabashedly. Bai Xinji's eyes are very gentle, with a hint of natural fear and grievance, making people want to protect her in her arms at the first sight. Bai Xinji looked at Jiang Fan nervously, being stared at by an aggressive man, which made her very uncomfortable for a moment. Bai Xinji didn't know whether she should go home or continue what she had done before, so he froze in place. Chapter 46. Another black lychee. Jiang Fan looked up and down at Bai Xinji unscrupulously. Bai Xinji was very shy, but she was not very angry because Jiang Fan was more handsome. Bai Xinji suddenly recognized Jiang Fan. Sir, are you the clerk at that convenience store? Jiang Fan smiled and nodded. It's me, Fatty. Whose convenience store is right at the entrance of the community? There are many people who know me. Bai Xinji whispered. Is it you who will provide food and accommodation? Jiang Fan looked at Bai Xinji as if he were looking at a piece of delicious food, and said with a smile, so smart. Some time ago, when the internet was still disconnected, with Jiang Fan's appearance, the news spread that the convenience store clerk provided food and accommodation. Some people in the group knew about it. Bai Xinji thought of the food in exchange for women practice of providing food and housing, and couldn't help but feel a little scared. She held the bag in her arms tightly with both hands to block it in front of her chest, and wanted to go home, but thinking about the situation at home, she hesitated again and said bravely, Sir, do you still have something to eat? Can I change a little? Jiang Fan smiled and said, Oh? What did you exchange for it? Bai Xinji looked around and whispered, A black lychee. I saw you buying it in the group. I have seen one, but I don't know if it is the black lychee you mentioned. Black lychee? Jiang Fan immediately became serious and stared at Bai Xinji. There was a yellow light shining on her body, and she looked harmless, not like she was lying to herself. Where? Bai Xinji immediately made a request. I want instant noodles, ham, sausage and chocolate. As soon as Jiang Fan heard the news about the enlightenment fruit, he instantly regained his composure. No problem. I'll give you 3 packs of instant noodles, 3 ham sausages, and 3 pieces of chocolate. Bai Xinji gritted her teeth and said, I also need anti-fever and anti-inflammatory medicine. My brother is sick. Jiang Fan sneered. Bai Xinji, don't push yourself too far. In fact, to Jiang Fan, it didn't matter what she wanted, she had to get the fruit of enlightenment first. She couldn't run away anyway. Bai Xinji was a little scared, but thinking about her brother who was suffering from a high fever, she couldn't care less and said firmly, I don't need food, but I have to take medicine, although my brother treats me badly. He's my brother after all. In this situation, without a man in the family, she doesn't know how she can survive. Jiang Fan pretended to ponder for a moment, but looked towards Bai Xinji's house. In perception, there are 5 people living in Bai Xinji's home. In the master bedroom, an old lady was guarding a man. The man was lying on the bed. His body was very dim. He must be sick. He was probably Bai Xinji's brother. The 3 people in the second bedroom looked like a family of 3, and they should be survivors who were forcibly arranged to enter. Jiang Fan said, Bai Xinji, you are so anxious. Someone in your family is seriously ill. Bai Xinji looked gloomy, obviously acquiescing. Huh? Bai Xinji reacted a little later. How do you know my name? Jiang Fan did not explain, but said directly, I have to get the black lychee first before I give you anything. Bye. Zinji said fearfully, it's in the community, but it's on the ground. I don't dare to go out. I'll tell you the location and you can go get it yourself, okay, outside? Jiang Fan refused, no. You have to come with me, now. Is the end of the world, surrounded by dangers and unpredictable people. Who knows if this woman will dig a hole for herself. He must take Zinji with him to find the black lychee in case of danger. You can control it as a hostage. Zinji bit her red lips and said bravely, okay, I'll just show you, we can't get close. Jiang Fan frowned, sounding dangerous. Where exactly? Bye. Zinji shook her head and said firmly, you have to give me something first before I can tell you. Jiang Fan laughed. I gave it to you and took it back. What can you do as a woman? Good, then. I'll take you to see it. Zinji gritted her teeth and said, you must give me the things, and don't be cheating, otherwise I will, you must give me the things anyway. Bye. Zinji thought about it for a long time but didn't know how to threaten Jiang Fan, so she could only give up in embarrassment. Jiang Fan almost burst out laughing. This woman is not very smart. Come downstairs quickly. Jiang Fan was too lazy to answer her and pointed to the stairs. Zinji was in front, and Jiang Fan was following behind. Zinji's waist is very soft and looks good when twisted. Jiang Fan admired it calmly. Zinji seemed to feel Jiang Fan's gaze. She blushed and walked a few steps quickly, as if she wanted to stay away from Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan didn't stop him and followed him with a smile. He looked calm on the surface, but in fact he was concentrating on his perception, making sure that no one around him would sneak up on him. The two quickly reached the 21st floor. Red mist billows slowly in the stairwell. Zinji became frightened, slowed down her pace, and took the initiative to get closer to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan smiled, why are you so close to me again, and you are not afraid that I will eat you? Bye. Zinji was a little flustered. You, what are you talking about? She thought of Jiang Fan's remarks in the group and felt regretful. Why did I follow this man downstairs? What if he has bad thoughts? Snapped. Jiang Fan suddenly kicked and stomped heavily on the ground. Zinji was startled and looked at Jiang Fan with horrified eyes. What's wrong? Jiang Fan calmly raised his feet. Step on bugs. A palm-sized cockroach was trampled to pieces on the ground. Zinji became even more frightened and quickened her pace. The two came to the hall. The effect of the herbicide is almost invisible. The plants have completely returned to their former glory. There were stumbling bushes everywhere, and the weeds were once again waist-deep. Zinji checked her trousers to make sure they were tightly tied before going out carefully. Jiang Fan focused his attention on the mutated frog with his senses, always preparing to enter the virtual state. This place has entered the attack range of the mutant frog if he encounters danger. Jiang Fan will definitely dive underground and escape without hesitation. As for Zinji, she can only hope for happiness. Zinji walked dozens of meters with difficulty, insects flying everywhere. Only then did Jiang Fan discover that there was a strange purple mushroom in the community. The mushroom was as big as a barbecue restaurant parasol, and the tallest one could grow up to 3 meters. Some huge fireflies hover among the purple mushrooms, adding a mysterious atmosphere to the community. Jiang Fan frowned and carefully avoided the position of the mushroom. Nowadays, there are more and more types of plants, so stay away from anything unfamiliar. And this is a mushroom, who knows if it is poisonous or not. He doesn't want to just lie back and watch the villain. Zinji stepped on a half-meter-high purple mushroom, pointed in the direction of the swimming pool and said, it's right next to the swimming pool over there, under a public bench. I came out after spraying herbicide that day and saw it. But there was a big frog sleeping in the swimming pool at that time, and I didn't dare to go there. Bye. Zinji is still a bit clever. After she found out that day, she didn't tell anyone, she just kept it secretly in her heart. She originally wanted to contact Food and Housing to provide food for her family. As a result, there was a power outage and the internet was cut off very quickly, so we were delayed. As for the mutated frog, Jiang Fan immediately believed it. If it were somewhere else, it might have been picked off by other survivors, but no one dares to go over to the mutated frog. In other words, someone passed by and just got into the belly of the mutated frog. Jiang Fan used his senses to carefully check the direction of the swimming pool. Soon, he found black lychees under the bench next to the swimming pool. The black lychee is just a ball the size of a ping pong. Now it is covered with plants everywhere. Jiang Fan has never noticed it. In addition, the bench was very short, surrounded by dense plants, and the mutated frog was so big and tall that it didn't even notice it right under its nose. Of course, it could also be the frogs have poor static vision. Jiang Fan secretly guessed if the mutated frog can't see stationary things clearly, Maybe this shortcoming can be used to kill it. Jiang Fan took out 2 boxes of food such as cephalosporins and instant noodles and handed them to Bai Xinji. Okay, you go back, Bai. Xinji was surprised. You haven't seen the black lychee yet. Aren't you afraid that I will lie to you, Jiang? Fan Yangyang smiled handsomely and said solemnly, I trust you, Bai. Xinji was inexplicably moved. Neither my mother nor my brother trusted me that much, and they suspected me of stealing food every day. She looked at Jiang Fan's handsome face, and her heart beat faster for no reason. Then I'm going back. You, don't worry, I won't tell anyone about the black lychee. She ran away in panic. Jiang Fan stared at Bai Xinji's back. A little green light actually appeared on the woman's body. This woman is too easy to deceive. Bai Xinji went upstairs. Jiang Fan withdrew his gaze and immediately put the woman's affairs behind him. He sank into the ground and quickly approached the black fruit. On the last days, strength is far more important than women. Chapter 47. Byakugan can pass through walls. When Jiang Fan approached the swimming pool about 10 meters away, the mutant frog suddenly stood up and jumped to the ground above Jiang Fan's head. Gua, gua. The mutated frog screamed loudly, as if warning something. Jiang Fan immediately sank quickly to the ground, sinking dozens of meters. The mutant frog calmed down and went back to sleep in the swimming pool again. Jiang Fan frowned. This thing's perception is so strong. This is trouble. Jiang Fan glanced at the black lychee and could only give up temporarily without absolute certainty. He would not take risks. When he returned home, Su Mengqian had already gotten up and was making breakfast. Su Mengqian saw Jiang Fan and said happily, Brother Jiang, you are back. Breakfast will be ready soon. Please wait a moment. This woman didn't know how she brainwashed herself. The light on her body was as green as emerald. Jiang Fan was very satisfied, took out a void fruit and said, eat the wall-piercing fruit as your reward. Coincidentally, the void fruit has been consumed to the tune of 7,788, and needs to be replenished for Su Mengqian. The surprise came too suddenly. She thanked him repeatedly, and then ate the hollow fruit. Su Mengqian consumes 1 enlightenment fruit, virtualization, and returns 700 fruits. It has been put into the portable space. Jiang Fan guided her to experiment with walking through a wall again. Su Mengqian's eyes almost turned pale when she looked at Jiang Fan, and the green light on her body became even purer. Jiang Fan sat on the sofa and habitually took a handful of enlightenment fruit and ate it. Woof, woof, woof. The husky rolled his eyes and suddenly started barking. Jiang Fan took a look and saw that it was standing in the wall hole of the next room, wagging its tail after it mutated. It seemed to be much smarter. If Jiang Fan didn't let it enter this room, it would never come. The women were very scared at first, but later they relaxed a lot when they found that Bai Yan was very obedient. Woof, woof, woof. Staring at the enlightenment fruit in Jiang Fan's hand with white eyes, it jumped and danced, as if asking for credit from Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan laughed. You want to eat too? Woof. Jiang Fan thought for a while and felt that Bai Yan had performed well during this period, so he waved, come over. Bai Yan immediately rushed out of the hole in the wall, jumped in front of Jiang Fan, stared at the fruit of enlightenment in Jiang Fan's hand, and laughed all over the floor. Jiang Fan was also curious about how animals mutated, and whether they also ate the enlightenment fruit. He took out a handful of hollow fruit and placed it on the ground. Eat. He rolled his eyes and lowered his head. Click, click. I ate it all in just a few bites. Soon, Bai Yan seemed to feel the change and tilted his head to look at Jiang Fan. Suddenly, its body sank into the ground. It was so frightened that it rolled its eyes, screamed, and fell down. Sure enough, the enlightenment fruit is effective on animals. Jiang Fan thought to himself, and followed him through the floor and landed on the 31st floor. Bai Yan was standing on the ground, looking at Jiang Fan in confusion, and then at his paws. It didn't seem to understand what was happening. It tried to scratch the ground and soon found that its claws could actually pass through the floor. Probably animal instinct. Byakugan quickly mastered the method of passing through the wall. It slammed into the wall and passed directly through it. Woof, woof, woof. I'm awesome. Byakugan's excited shouts came from next door. Being held in a room for the past few days, it was almost going crazy, and immediately ran through the wall and went crazy. Jiang Fan shouted, just play on this floor, don't go downstairs. I don't know if Byakugan can understand that. It doesn't matter if you don't understand anyway. There is no one else above the 28th floor if seen by others. If you see it, you will see it. Who can deal with this thing? A few minutes later, Bai Yan ran back out of breath, collapsed in front of Jiang Fan with his legs crossed, and his tongue stuck out. Going through the wall will consume a lot of physical strength. And even the mutant husky's physical strength cannot bear it. Jiang Fan took out a large handful of void fruits and a large handful of perception fruits and placed them on the ground. Byakugan immediately started eating happily. After eating the fruit of perception, Byakugan immediately felt different. It looked at Jiang Fan in confusion, wondering why its master was glowing. Jiang Fan rubbed his dog's head and walked through the ceiling back home. Bai Xinji returned home excitedly. Brother Bai Yongxin was lying on the bed, his face sallow. Mother Zhang Hongsha said angrily, "You wake up early in the morning and go out for a run. What are you doing? Your brother is so sick, and you still run around." Bai Yongxin stared at his sister weakly, but he was too sick to speak. Bai Xinji said aggrievedly, "I'm going to find something to eat." Zhang Hongsha slapped her on the bed. "How dare you lie to me? Where are you going to find food at a time like this?" Bai Xinji had tears in her eyes, bit her red lips and said, "Look." She opened the bag and revealed the food. Not only is there food, but there is also medicine. Zhang Hongsha was stunned for a moment. "What medicine?" Bai Xinji said, "Cephalosporin may be useful for my brother's disease." Zhang Hongsha was surprised. Quick, quick, quick. Give it to your brother." Bai Yongxin also seemed to have gained strength and struggled hard. "Give me medicine. Give me medicine quickly." Bai Xinji helped her brother take the medicine and took out a pack of instant noodles. "Give it to me quickly." Bai Yongxin's eyes flashed as he grabbed it and ate it. His face was covered with crumbs and he fell off the bed. Zhang Hongsha looked at her son kindly. Eat more and you will feel better faster." Bai Xinji felt heartbroken. Food is precious now. How can it be wasted like this? She carefully picked up the instant noodle crumbs one by one from the sheets and put them in a bowl. Bai Yongxin ate instant noodles and medicine and managed to regain some energy. Then he lay back on the bed and asked, "What did you replace it with?" "This." Bai Xinji hesitated. She promised Jiang Fan not to say anything about the black lychee. Bai Yongxin frowned. "What's not good to say? Who gave it to you?" Zhang Hongsha also became suspicious. Now that food is so precious, who would give it to outsiders? She opened Bai Xinji's bag and took a look. There are still 2 packages of instant noodles, 3 ham sausages, and 3 pieces of chocolate left, plus 2 boxes of cephalosporins. These supplies are a huge sum of money. Bai Xinji didn't know how to explain, and Nuano lowered her head and didn't dare to speak. Zhang Hongsha's face became serious. "Tell me, who gave it to you?" Bai Xinji bit her lower lip. "Don't worry about it, as long as you have something to eat." Bai Yongxin stared at her and suddenly said, "You went out to sell." Bai Xinji was stunned for a moment and said angrily, "Brother, what are you talking about?" Bai Yongxin sneered, "Huh? You can't get anything out of it, so why should others give you food and medicine? Don't you know how precious food is now?" Bai Xinji was shocked and said, "Mom, look what my brother said about me." Zhang Hongsha stared at Bai Xinji for a long time and said quietly, "You just sold it. Why don't you dare to admit it? It's a shameful thing. Besides, her body, what else can my daughter exchange for goods?" Zhang Hongsha secretly thought, no matter what, her son is the most important, and the only seedling of the Lao Bai family must be saved. A woman will marry sooner or later, and she will be an outsider after all. If she could trade her daughter for her son's life, she would not hesitate. Bai Xinji said in disbelief, "Mom, me, Zhang Hongsha favors boys over girls and hasn't been kind to Bai Xinji since she was a child. She sticks to her brother Bai Yongxin first when it comes to anything delicious or fun." However, Bai Xinji still believes that her mother is good to her now. These words were completely unacceptable to her. Bai Xinji shed tears silently and hugged the bag in her arms tightly. She didn't expect that when she took the risk of going downstairs with a strange man, she would be questioned by her relatives. Zhang Hongsha snatched the bag away with all her strength, foaming at the mouth and saying, "You have a wild man to raise you anyway. Don't waste the food at home." Bai Xinji cried, "I don't." Zhang Hongsha pointed to the door and said sternly, "You go to the living room to sleep. Don't hinder your brother's recovery here." Bai Yongxin looked at his sister proudly. "After driving my sister away, this food is enough to last for 4 to 5 days." Bai Xinji's heart was ashen. Chapter 48. Bai Xinji's dowry. Bai Xinji came to the living room in despair, huddled on the sofa and cried silently. Her closest relatives were so heartless, which made her feel disheartened, and she didn't know where to go. She couldn't help but think of Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan has been looking for women in the group. If I seek refuge with him? Bai Xinji quickly shook her head, so ashamed that she felt like she had become a bad woman. It's quiet at night. The entire Fortune Center community went dark. Only the candles in Tang Zirao's home were brightly lit. Jiang Fan did not stay at home, but sat in a room on the 5th floor, using his senses to carefully observe the mutated frog. He has been sitting here for most of the day. This mutant frog catches food about once every 2 hours. The maximum attack distance of its tongue is about 80 meters. I just don't know if it is its maximum attack distance. If I take advantage of the opportunity when it goes out to hunt and place a large number of explosives in its lair, I should be able to kill it, but there are still 2 problems with this plan. First, where to get enough explosives. Second, the mutant frog does not have to leave the nest every time it hunts. Most of the time, it can catch prey with its tongue while sitting in the swimming pool. So I need to wait for the opportunity. Anyway, the tadpoles are getting bigger and bigger, which is a big problem. I have to solve it as soon as possible. Let's try to get some explosives first. There shouldn't be any in Mohe City. Unless we look outside, we just don't know where the nearest military camp is. Jiang Fan pondered, the moving speed of the ground is too slow. I can open 10 teleportation gates a day, with a maximum of 5 kilometers each time. I can only use 5 gates to travel, and the other 5 gates to return, so my maximum teleportation distance in a day is 25 kilometers. Are there military camps within 25 kilometers? Jiang Fan waited for a while and found that the mutant frog went hunting again. The time was very stable. It was still about 2 hours since the last hunting. After figuring out the pattern, Jiang Fan no longer waited here, but looked in Bai Xinji's direction with confusion. A whole day passed, and the woman kept huddled on the sofa, crying, neither eating nor drinking. It's late at night and she hasn't gone back to the master bedroom to sleep. Why? Got a conflict with your family? Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. This is my good opportunity. Disappear. Jiang Fan fell into the ground from the 5th floor and walked towards Bai Xinji's house. Master bedroom. Zhang Hongxia carefully licked the instant noodle residue in the bowl and carefully put away the remaining food. She counted over and over again. You have to eat the ham first, then the instant noodles. Don't touch the chocolate until absolutely necessary. Save it for emergencies. Cephalosporin seems to be very effective. Bai Yongxin regained some energy, could barely sit up, and said impatiently, Mom, it's just this little food, so stop nagging. Zhang Hongxia had a completely different look towards her son, smiling and saying, this is not food, it is our life. Bai Yongxin rolled his eyes. Mom, I have another way to get some more food. Zhang Hongxia said curiously, son, tell me. Bai Yongxin said, anyway, my sister is already with a wild man. We can marry her to him. Since that wild man can provide so many supplies, he must still have a lot in hand. We are marrying a girl, so asking for a bride price is not too much, right? We want 10 packs. No, we want it by percentage. We want 50%. My sister is so beautiful, that wild man will definitely want it. Zhang Hongxia's eyes glowed. She had long wanted to marry Bai Xinji and get some gifts, and then marry her son. As a result, the end of the world has come now. Her son's statement has opened up a new way of thinking for her. What happened to the end of the world? In the last days, you will have to marry a wife and have children, right? We need betrothal gifts before the end of the world, but we can't do without them after the end of the world, right? Zhang Hongxia hesitated for a moment and then asked, but who is that man? How much food is there? We don't know. Will we lose money? My daughter is just an outsider. My son and I must survive. Bai Yongxin held a pearl of wisdom in his hands and said, 9 times out of 10, it's Chen Yuang. Apart from him, who else in our building has so much food now? Chen Yuang. Zhang Hongxia looked scared. Chen Yuang is a small earthworks boss, a typical capable person and social person in the traditional sense. Not long after the end of the world arrived, he organized a group of people to protect Tower A. Chen Yuang basically has the final say on matters in Block A. After the power outage, Chen Yuang organized everyone to move above the 22nd floor, which saved many people. Of course, everyone who disobeyed his will was severely beaten in this day and age. Trauma is basically equal to death. During the move, Chen Yuang plundered a lot of supplies. Others were almost out of food, but he still had enough food. It is said that Chen Yuang's men can eat 3 meals of instant noodles every day. Moreover, each subordinate can live in a separate bedroom without having to live with other families. Bai Yongxin licked his lips and said, Mom, don't be afraid. If my sister marries Chen Yuang, you will be his mother-in-law and he won't do anything to you. That's right. After Zhang Hongxia heard this, she immediately felt confident. I am Chen Yuang's mother-in-law. How could you beat me? Bai Yongxin continued, Mom, we are doing this for the sake of my sister. Now that she is following Chen Yuang, she will be enjoying a lot of blessings. At least she can have enough to eat, which no one can ask for. Jiang Fan finally made up her mind. Okay. I'll go find Chen Yuang. Bye. Zinji curled up on the sofa in the dark night. The silence around her made her very scared. There was a family of 3 living in the second bedroom. When the man came out to use the toilet, he saw Bai Zinji and his eyes suddenly lit up. In just 1 hour, he came out 3 times on purpose. Bai Zinji was extremely scared. After a while, Jiang Fan came out with a flashlight. Bai Zinji was pleasantly surprised. She thought her mother had changed her mind and let her go back to her room to sleep, so she stood up. As a result, Jiang Fan just looked at her indifferently and hurried out. Bai Zinji's smile froze and tears flowed down again. After a while, a man's voice suddenly came from behind her. Are you hungry? Bai Zinji was startled. She turned around and found that Jiang Fan had arrived at some point and was standing by the window looking at her. Bai Zinji said confusedly, You? How did you get in? Jiang Fan smiled and said nothing, took out a pack of biscuits and stuffed it into her hand. Do you want to eat or not? He was surprised to find that the light on Bai Zinji's body began to turn green. Bai Zinji firmly refused. No, I'm not the kind of woman you think. Wow. Jiang Fan tore open the biscuit package, and the sweet smell filled his nostrils. Gulu. Bai Zinji swallowed hard at this moment. The man next door walked out with his son who was in college and looked at Bai Zinji maliciously. Bai Zinji was afraid and couldn't help but hide behind Jiang Fan. At this time, the man saw Jiang Fan and was shocked. He didn't expect that there was an extra man in the room in the middle of the night. He couldn't help but get into a hurry. Jiang Fan gave him a cold look. The man and his son were glowing with a dazzling red light. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. Kill them all. The young son immediately took out a dagger and said aggressively, Shabby, why are you staring at me? He was not afraid of Jiang Fan at all because of his big body and round waist. Jiang Fan didn't know why these 2 people were so hostile to him, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to know. He suddenly kicked out. The son flew backwards, smashed the glass and screamed as he fell downstairs. If you fall from more than 20 floors, you will die. The man was stunned. He had no idea that his son would just curse and die. You're crazy. Bai Zinji covered her mouth in horror. Jiang Fan reached out and grabbed the man's collar and said calmly, when it's time to use the dagger, you must be prepared to bear the consequences. The man struggled hard and roared, Let me go. I'm going to kill you. Jiang Fan exerted a little force, and the man's body flew into the air uncontrollably. Jiang Fan threw him out of the window without saying a word, and the man screamed, No. A few seconds later, there was the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground. The surroundings became quiet again. The man's wife heard the screams of her husband and son and ran out in panic, just in time to see Jiang Fan throwing her husband downstairs. I'll fight with you. The woman screamed and rushed towards Jiang Fan with her teeth bared. Jiang Fan slapped the woman on the face, causing her face to turn 180 degrees and her cervical spine to twist. Jiang Fan casually threw the woman downstairs. When he looked at Bai Zinji again, she was already frightened. Don't be afraid. Jiang Fan smiled and touched Bai Zinji's head. A family should be neat and tidy, right? Bai Zinji's teeth chattered, and she almost cried. Jiang Fan took out another bag of bread and said with a smile, Come with me, I'll make sure you have enough to eat. Bai Zinji looked at Jiang Fan blankly. I don't understand what the man in front of me is thinking at all. How could he calmly talk to himself after killing a few people? Vaguely, Bai Zinji also felt that only people like Jiang Fan could live longer in the apocalypse. She has seen a lot of killings these days, but why did the world become like this? Bai Zinji is in a daze. Bai Yongxin heard the movement outside and moved out step by step. He immediately saw Jiang Fan touching Bai Zinji's head, and immediately became angry. Who is this man? Could it be my sister's secret boyfriend? Bai Yongxin was anxious. He was just about to give Bai Zinji to Chen Yuang in exchange for food when he saw this scene. If Chen Yuang finds out, the food will be gone. Bai Yongxin gritted his teeth and said, You are indeed having a secret meeting with a wild man. Bai Zinji is anxious. I didn't. Jiang Fan is. At this moment, the door was pushed open violently. A middle-aged man with a cold face walked in. Behind him were 2 burly men, Jiang Fan and a middle-aged man behind him, Who said with a smile, "Brother Yang, this is my girl, look." Chen Yang stared at Bai Xinji as soon as he entered the door, completely ignoring Jiang Fan and Bai Yongxin. In fact, he has long been thinking about this beautiful woman. He has been busy moving and collecting food these days and has not had time to do anything. Now that I am finally free, I was thinking about when to get Bai Xinji, but I didn't expect Bai Xinji and her mother to come to my door. Chen Yang smiled ferociously and said, "Not bad. I'm very satisfied. Little girl, come here and let me have a look." Bai Xinji hid behind her brother, trembling, and said, I'm not going." "What are you doing?" Bai Yongxin pushed his sister out with all his strength. "Hurry. Sister, you are lucky to follow Brother Yang. Go quickly." He seemed to see his wonderful life. If Bai Xinji really marries Chen Yang, she will be Chen Yang's uncle. Then there is nothing you don't want. It's much better than following that brat next to you. Chen Yang wanted to rob someone. Zhang Hongsha quickly took Chen Yang's hand and said with a shy smile, "Brother Yang, we agreed that I will marry my daughter to you and you will give me instant noodles." Chen Yang said impatiently, "Lao Wu, give her a pack of instant noodles and tell her to get out. I will be the groom here today." Ha. Zhang Hongsha was stunned. "We just agreed on 10 packs. Bai Xinji felt like she was struck by lightning. Mom actually sold herself for 10 packs of instant noodles. Lao Wu said impatiently, "Girls, giving you 1 pack is already a bargain. Give you 10 packs. Bai Yongxin said anxiously, "Mom, didn't we agree on half of it? Why did it become 10 packs? Bai Xinji's expression was dull and she slowly looked at her brother. "You guys actually discussed it?" Bai Xinji said with despair. "Brother, I took the risk to find medicine for you, and this is what you did to me." Bai Yongxin shook off Bai Xinji's hand. "Get lost. You've already sold it anyway, so you're not selling it to anyone." Bai Xinji's heart sank. She looked at her mother and brother in front of her, and she had never felt that they were so strange. 10 packs of instant noodles. It's worth 10 packs of instant noodles by itself. Bai Xinji felt like a joke in the eyes of my mother and brother. I am only worth 10 packs of instant noodles. Bai Yongxin moved to Chen Yang with difficulty and said righteously, "Brother Yang, my sister is so beautiful. 10 packs is too little." Snapped. Chen Yang knocked Bai Yongxin to the ground with a slap, and said with a ferocious smile, "What qualifications do you have to negotiate terms with me?" Chen Yang's men immediately stepped forward and punched and kicked Bai Yongxin. Bai Yongxin was still having a fever and had no strength to resist, so he could only scream. Zhang Hongsha anxiously threw herself on Bai Yongxin to protect her son, and shouted in a tearful voice, "No more. No more. We don't want instant noodles anymore. Don't hit my son. Bai Xinji gave it to you." The 2 men looked at Chen Yang. Chen Yang picked up a wooden stool and hit Zhang Hongsha hard on the head, roaring, "Stop if you tell me to stop. I'm so shameless. I'll beat them both to death." The 2 men immediately waved the stools and smashed them more than a dozen times. The 2 men became silent and blood flowed all over the floor. Bai Xinji looked at her mother and brother without any expression, and felt a faint joy of revenge in her heart. Chen Yang carried the wooden stool and looked at Bai Xinji, smiling ferociously with blood on his face. "Come here for me." Bai Xinji's hands shook slightly. Jiang Fan applauded, "Not bad, it's cruel enough, I like it, only." Then did Chen Yang notice the ordinary man next to him? He said in disbelief, "Boy, are you talking to me?" Chen Yang's 2 men laughed wildly, "Ha, this kid is crazy. Hurry up and kneel down to Brother Yang. Brother Yang can consider sparing your life." Jiang Fan's expression became cold and he picked up a stool. "I'm in a good mood today and I'll give you a chance to commit suicide. Do it yourself." Chen Yang seemed to have heard the most ridiculous thing in the world, and he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, "Ha. A wooden stool leg was instantly broken off by Jiang Fan and inserted into Chen Yang's mouth. Like lightning click, his teeth were all crushed. Chen Yang didn't have time to scream. Jiang Fan exerted his strength again. The wooden stool legs pressed down on Chen Yang's head and hit the ground hard. Boom. Then it penetrated the back of the head and pinned him to the ground. The smiles of Chen Yang's 2 men froze. Jiang Fan did not give them time to react. It flew away with one punch kicked away. The 2 men flew upside down and hit the wall, vomiting blood, and died in the blink of an eye. The room was filled with dead bodies, leaving only Jiang Fan and Bai Xinji alive. Bai Xinji's mind went blank. She glanced at Jiang Fan numbly, then rolled her eyes and fainted. Chapter 50 Chaotic Killing. The first 9-star ability. Jiang Fan picked up Bai Xinji and swiped his finger in the air. and a blue portal appeared. Jiang Fan walked into the subspace and set the target point of the portal above the top floor of Building C. As long as precise positioning is not required, the door opening speed is quite fast. The door opened 7 or 8 meters away from the top of the building. Jiang Fan changed Baizenji into Princess Hug, jumped from the air, and landed heavily on the ground. Baizenji was awakened. She looked around blankly. Where am I? Jiang Fan smiled slightly. Go to my house. Bye. Zenji suddenly remembered what happened just now. In a short period of time, his mother and brother died, and he no longer had any close relatives in the world. Her whole body became depressed again. Jiang Fan looked on coldly, understanding her mood, but would not speak to comfort her. If she can regulate her mood, she will do so. If she can't, she will die. Now is the end of the world. Will a lot of people die one day? People with poor mental endurance simply cannot live long. Shortly after Jiang Fan left, a man from Baizenji's neighbor gently opened the door and stuck his head out. A woman's anxious voice came from the room. Old Chen, don't go there. It sounds scary. The man called Lao Chen said softly. Everyone seems to have left. Let me see if I can find some food. The woman was so scared that she almost cried. Old Chen, you screamed so miserably just now. I'm afraid, can't we just stay at home? Old Chen glared and said, you can't even eat, and you're still staying at home? Are you waiting to die? Even if we both can endure it, how can the child endure it? The woman fell silent and begged, be careful, be careful. I know. Lao Chen waved his hand impatiently. He watched carefully for a while. There was no sound from the Bai family. The door was wide open, there was no light at all, and the smell of blood wafted out. It shouldn't be a big problem. Old Chen gritted his teeth. Wait for me at home. He gingerly went out with a flashlight and a kitchen knife, tiptoed to the door of Bai's house, and looked inside. I saw that all the bedroom doors were wide open, several corpses were lying on the ground, and blood was flowing all over the floor. In a short time, several flies were hovering around the body. One of the corpses in particular had a wooden stick inserted into its mouth and nailed to the ground. The corpse had a ferocious face and white eyes, obviously unwilling to die. Old Chen trembled, and when he looked carefully, it turned out to be Chen Yuang. It's Chen Yuang. Chen Yuang was killed. He was pleasantly surprised. This BD took advantage of his large number of men and forced people to live in each house. Several elderly people were also placed in his house. An old man was sick and would not sleep at night and groaned, which made Lao Chen very angry. It's good now, Chen Yang is dead. Have a good death. Old Chen plucked up the courage and kicked the corpse hard, feeling relieved immediately after he vented his anger. He stopped delaying and seized the time to search for food. After a while, he found the food brought back by Baizenji, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Instant noodles, ham sausage, and chocolate. Old Chen was beaming. He didn't notice that a man quietly appeared in the dark shadow behind him. The man slowly raised the stick and hit Lao Chen hard on the back of the head. Boom! Lao Chen fell to the ground without saying a word, blood flowing all over the ground. The man chuckled sinisterly, snatched Lao Chen's bag into his arms, turned around and ran away without daring to stop. Just a few minutes after he left, several more waves of people came to Bai's house. When everyone saw Chen Yuang's body, they were all overjoyed, and then they ransacked the Bai family's supplies unscrupulously. Soon, a fight broke out over the uneven distribution of the spoils. Building A 3301. 4 men covered in tattoos were drinking together. There were no snacks to go with the wine, just a few packs of instant noodles, crushed into pieces to make do mixed with instant noodles seasoning. It's quite tasty. The 4 of them ate for a while. One of the men with a mouthful of gold teeth said doubtfully, Brother Yuang, why haven't you come back yet? Another bald man said nonchalantly, what else can you do? FK that little girl named Bai, FK. Lao Wu and Lao Lang can definitely drink the soup, and that old woman named Zhang Hongsha is also good, with thin skin and tender meat. Hi. You have such a strong taste. Every time something like this happens, Brother Yuang brings Lao Wu and Lao Lang with him. Mada. When will it be my turn? The 4 of them were so jealous that they cursed each other. Having said that, no one dares to have too many complaints. They lived with Chen Yuang in peacetime and have long been accustomed to obeying Chen Yuang's orders. To be honest, Chen Yuang was also very good to his brothers, and he never treated them badly as long as they had food and drink. In addition to being reluctant to share women, it makes them slightly uncomfortable. Now there are 2 beauties in Chen Yuang's room. Both of them are the most outstanding women in Block A. Normally I wouldn't even let them take a second look. However, they are just complaining. This is normal. Which man is willing to share women with other men? Just then, A scream came. The four of them were very alert and immediately drew out their weapons and looked around. It seems to be coming from downstairs. Don't tell me that Brother Yang has been tricked, right? Impossible. How dare these quails in Building 8 try to trick Brother Yang? It doesn't sound like Brother Yang's voice, nor does it belong to Lao Wu and Lao Lang. FK. What nonsense are you talking about? You'll know if you go downstairs and take a look. Yes. Just go down and stretch your muscles. Brother Yang is not allowed to do this or that. Now there are people looking for trouble in the middle of the night. It's okay for us to maintain order, right? It doesn't stop in the middle of the night. I want to make that evil pen look good. The four of them went downstairs with their weapons in hand. Grinning ferociously, they searched all the way to the 29th floor when they smelled a strong smell of blood downstairs. Someone could also be heard cursing and screaming loudly. The four people's hearts sank and they hurried downstairs. When they reached the 25th floor, they were stunned by what they saw. A group of survivors are fighting desperately. The entire corridor was in chaos with so many people fighting in groups. The four of them didn't dare to go in rashly. Jiang shouted in panic, "Where's Brother Yang? Brother Yang? Brother Yang?" A man with glasses who usually looked very honest smashed a person to death, then raised his head and laughed wildly with blood on his face. "The person named Chen is dead." Haha, boom. The man with glasses had his throat slashed by another man. When the bald man and the two of them heard that Chen Yang was dead, they immediately became anxious, forcibly split open the crowd, and rushed towards the Bai family. Jiang rolled his eyes with all the chaos now. Chen Yang is probably really dead. All the supplies they collected before are at Chen Yang's house. When Chen Yang dies, who'll own the things? By the way, there are those two women. When Jiang thought of the woman's figure, he suddenly felt angry and turned around and quickly went upstairs. It's all mine now. The three bald men finally rushed into Bai's house, and what they saw was Chen Yang's body. The corpse had been damaged beyond recognition, and the face could hardly be seen. But the clothes on his body and the watch on his hand proved his identity. Lao Wu and Lao Lang also died on the side. The whole Bai family is full of corpses. FK. It's over. Brother Yang is really dead. Huh? Where is that kid Jiang? Why didn't he come over? Is he blocked outside? I was the last one, and he didn't seem to follow me. The three bald men were not good at picking fights, and they immediately realized that Jiang had probably gone to rob Chen Yang's supplies. FK. I don't think that guy's a good person. Hurry upstairs. Hurry back. The three of them cursed each other, but they had their own secrets in their hearts. When they arrived at Chen Yang's house, they found that Jiang had indeed locked the door, said nothing, and would not open the door to anyone. The three of them suddenly couldn't bear it anymore. Kill Jiang. That kid is the most insidious. I've long disliked him. Mad. The food in the house belongs to the brothers, but he dares to monopolize it. How? To get in, climb from the top of the building. You should be able to climb in from the top of the building on the 33rd floor. There are no iron bars on the windows of Brother Yang's house. When Chen Yang was around, he could barely maintain order. When Chen Yang died, the entire Tower A was completely out of control. As the four people started fighting, others also focused on the materials collected by Chen Yang, and the killing spread quickly throughout the night. The screams from Block A were endless. The survivors of the other two buildings in the Fortune Center community were trembling and hiding in the corner, not knowing what happened. Jiang Fan can monitor some floors in Building A through perception. Scenes of killing unfolded. Jiang Fan just watched indifferently, eating one or two enlightenment fruits as snacks from time to time. He didn't pick any fruits. He just took them randomly and took whatever he got. After Bai Yan had eaten and drank enough, he lay on the ground with his legs in the air and fell asleep. Occupying a large area of the ground, the women sat around Jiang Fan in fear, not daring to rest at all. Brother Jiang, what's going on? Jiang Fan said calmly, I killed the boss in Building A, and the whole building went out of control. Now they are robbing food, women, and houses. Tisk tisk, it's really exciting. At this moment, Jiang Fan heard a prompt, Ling. Subspace shuttle is upgraded to 9 stars, full level, cannot be upgraded. The teleportation skill has actually been upgraded. Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.